Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast. Wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands. Not more to say. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. There we go, who's gonna walk through the door? There just might be some strategy in this. Just having fun with a special guest. Time for Stage Select.
And here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
And I'm Justin Ham, and I'm here, and I don't have really anything to say other than that.
And that's been a podcast, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks as always to the wonderful Megan McDuffie
we're
for our
done.
theme song and interstitials.
Mhm.
Thank you to a friend of the show, John Gholson, for being our announcer and giving us our logo artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, that's good. No, keep going. We're done. That's
okay.
That's
No,
good. Yeah, no.
I've been Julian Titus.
Yeah.
He's been Justin Ham.
Yeah.
We've been the Stage Select. Signing off.
Yep.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.
Good. Done. Excellent. Turn it off.
All right.
Print.
Record time.
Cut. Print. Done. Did the whole thing. Everybody got what they wanted. Yeah. This is a show. Welcome.
Yes, it's a video
it's
game
still
variety
going,
show.
isn't it? Fuck.
No,
Yeah.
it is. You can't escape.
I mean, I could, but
No.
yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, I guess. Then you would force me into the Jeff Gerstmann position, and
Yeah.
that's not a position that I want to be in.
Yeah. Let's see. Julian always has life news when he starts. Sometimes he's like, "This is my life." I'm like, I might become an adult with a mortgage pretty soon here. That might be weird.
Really?
Yeah, it's possible.
Oh, wow, dude.
Yeah. They were like, you can have one of those, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Turned into a Brahmo slightly there
Yeah.
for a second.
Well, we get along, me and him.
Yeah, no, you do.
Yeah. So, so that might happen. We'll see though. I gotta,
Yeah.
it might also not happen. I mean, here's the thing. They're like, no, it's definitely good. But the thing that I want to get is now in the hands of my family, and God help us all. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm trying to buy my grandma's old house.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was gonna say, because one thing is I was like, man, like I would say wait like a couple years if you can, so because interest rates are finally starting to possibly interest rates are coming down, but the Fed has not lowered the overall thing,
No.
so it's still like really expensive.
Unfortunately,
to borrow money
it is a time sensitive thing. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, well, unfortunately, I don't have time to wait for the best possible time. Because this has to get done within a year or whatever. And it's like, well, okay, and also my mom is living there by myself, and my mom has stuff, so by herself. And I'm like, well, let's fix all this.
Oh, okay. So and so she'd be living there with you.
Yes.
That would be probably good for both of you.
Yeah. It'll be familiar. It'll be like a homecoming the day that happens, Julian, because it'll be basically the old setup. Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, I'm excited to see you down in that basement setup again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Plenty of room to stretch out. You're stifled right now.
Yeah, I can just fucking and also I get to get rid of all the old lady shit that was there. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Well, that works out for you.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. And if it doesn't, well, then we go somewhere else with the money that I have. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or don't have. But they'll give it to me. It's weird.
Come out here. I could use a. Well, then I don't know if you can find a job.
Unfortunately, it is a thing to not move somebody with a mental condition out of state or out of their comfort zone.
Right. Because you wouldn't be able to go by yourself.
Or else they'd be living with my sister right now. But yeah. So yeah, that's the whole thing. That's my life.
Yeah. No, it's a big deal, man.
Yeah, I'm working on it. See what happens. But yeah,
I am continuing to wrestle with trees. This new tree seems like it's already dying because I live in fucking Texas. And why do they mandate that we have like manicured lawns with fucking trees that can't survive in 100-degree heat?
You gotta go out. You gotta water the trees.
I'm watering it. I'm watering the shit out of it.
Are you watering it?
You can't water it too much.
Do you have to use a sprinkler system where you live? Like for the grass?
I don't. No.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
I barely water my lawn. Well, mainly because like we're on such like strict water restrictions anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
I kind of focus on the trees. So right now, like what I have is like there's these like I have these like they're like tree bladders. They're basically like little inner tubes that go around the base of the tree.
Okay. Yeah.
And you fill them with water, and they have little spigots underneath, and so they slowly drain out. Because that's supposed to be like the optimal way to water a tree, like because it's like a slow soaking over time.
Right.
But because so the new tree I had to water it every day for 2 weeks, and I did that. I think I might have missed like one day here. But since then it's like I was looking. It's like okay, so you do it twice a week. So I was doing it twice a week, and it just seems like it's like not having it now. It's also like. The apex of summer right now.
Yeah.
It's causing me so much like mental anguish because it's like I cannot be replacing trees every goddamn year. Yeah,
no, that doesn't sound great, Julian. Yeah. It doesn't sound good at all. Yeah. I'm sorry for your tree woes. See, if you don't have like an HOA shit, you just go fuck that tree and you cut it down and you just never speak of it again.
Exactly. Yeah. I wish. Yeah. I think HOAs are one of the worst.
Oh, they're terrible. Yeah.
Things that getting a house is like the American dream, right? It's like you finally are able to get a house, and that's true for fewer and fewer people as time goes on.
Right.
And then you can't even do what you want with the house.
No.
Like what the fuck,
no,
dude?
Can't do that. No. Yeah. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. Trees are weird, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the lawn watering, but yeah, Texas always has the water restriction stuff. I forgot about that. In Utah, they watered their grass a lot, and I found that weird. They had seasons. It was I don't know.
Well, yeah, but I think places like Texas and Arizona and Utah, like and Nevada, like. If you live in the suburbs, like everybody should just have Xeriscape stuff where it's basically just like gravel and like you might have like a cactus or something like that for aesthetics, but like it's pointless. And Mike Fallick right now is slow clapping because I know he's like really big about
No, I agree with him. I do
agree. Like,
yeah,
I think
grass
it's
is
incredibly
bullshit.
Wasteful and
grass is bullshit. I agree.
Yeah.
I would like to introduce AstroTurf.
Or that. Well, actually, AstroTurf is supposed to be even worse, like for the environment.
That's fine. It'll be fine.
Grass.
We'll make the good AstroTurf. This is my business idea now.
The tagline is "This is good AstroTurf."
This is the good AstroTurf. The other one, not as good. And then the Houston Astros will sue us. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll call ours. I don't know what's
that is where that comes from. Isn't
it was the Astros field that was the first one to have it. One. Yeah, and then somehow I remember these things.
Used to go to the Astros field every year for Jehovah's Witnesses convention.
Oh boy,
yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know they had one. That's intense.
Like every district.
I'm not surprised. It's impressive that they could get a stadium. That's impressive.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, there's millions of them,
right?
But
I believe it.
Yeah, and that was always an exciting time for me because it's like, stay in a hotel, go to Houston, and the conventions would have you would get lunch, right? So they would serve you lunch. So that was the only place that I've ever had Shasta.
Oh yeah,
that was the colas of choice.
Yep.
And pudding, there was a particular pudding cup that they would serve that I only ever saw there.
Okay, all right,
yeah,
yeah.
I remember the year my mom was helping out with the food stuff.
Yeah, it's almost on the scale of Mormons, except they own an entire state. So,
right, yeah.
It's hard to get on their level.
Well, but they're kind of local. I mean, I know they're nationwide, but they're not worldwide. I don't think.
Oh well, no, yeah, they are a little bit. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, where do you think the missionaries are going?
Usually on top.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you're right. I should have thought that out better. That's on me. I set you up for that. I can't Shasta McNasty alarm you on that one. That's on me.
I'm glad you're reasonable.
Yeah. No, I am. If I set it up and you knock it down, who am I to judge?
Yeah.
But no, the Mormon missionaries, different thing. They go fucking everywhere.
Hither and yon.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't make it back alive because they send them to terrible places to send anyone. Because not smart. And then they would all train where I used to live. They would all the missionaries would come to Provo, Utah to train at BYU University. If you didn't know, BYU is a big Mormon thing. It is. It's wild. And then they would train, good old Brigham Young University. Yeah, they'd train the missionaries, send them out. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a big honor to go to.
That's that's Bethel for Jehovah's Witnesses in New York. That's the big place. But,
right.
I mean, there's plenty of I forget what they were called. The kind of the places where you would kind of study for doing the big mission, big missionary work, not just the door to door stuff, locally, but going abroad and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Mormons would do that there. They'd go to Brigham Young University. Then for just their regular, they have a whole system of churches and areas. It's kind of wild. But they have the main temple in Salt Lake, and then they separate. They can only get away with it in that state, but they district everything, church wise and shit like that. It's like school districts for churches. Mm-hmm. You live over here, you have to go to this thing and this thing, and then if you're single, you go to this church, and if you're married, you go to this church.
Oh, that's hardcore.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we have that as well, or have Jehovah's Witnesses have that where based on where you live, you would go to a particular congregation.
Right.
But I think you can also, if you want, if you move further away, but you want to stay at your congregation, you can definitely do that. But it gets trickier when it comes down to, going door to door, because that's also done by where you live and stuff like that.
Yeah. Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, pretty similar, it seems.
Yeah.
Except for the whole part where Mormons added their own book and just made up a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
There's that.
That's the crucial.
Lest we forget. Lest we forget. Oh yeah. Trust me, I know.
Look, I got nothing against Mormons if you're out there.
No, listen.
I've just more got a thing about organized religion in general these days.
Yes. No. Listen. I will always end my bashing of Mormons like this. Listen. Some of the coolest people I met were Mormons. All right. They and most of them were like, yeah, some of the stuff we believe is a little nuts. That was the thing that they a lot of the time would agree on, but it was at the end of the day, it's this is just kind of what we do, and you're like, God bless, man, do your thing. I don't care.
I do understand the comfort that can come from having a belief system.
Yeah,
I think again, it's more of just the way that a lot of the organized versions of that suck.
Yeah. Organized religion, never been a fan, personally.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan. But yeah, you know.
If you're new to the show, this is a video game podcast.
Is it?
Ostensibly.
Okay, well.
So I thought I'd kick off with just a couple of things that are old things that I'll just kind of go through kind of quickly, and then I'll save my newer stuff for later.
Okay.
I finally finished Until Then.
All right, fantastic. You did good. Doing good.
Took me a while, partially because that game is longer than it needs to be. I do think, especially towards especially towards the end of the final act.
Yeah.
It starts to take liberties.
Yes.
All right. Let's.
There's a point where you're like, okay, guys, let's land the ship. Let's
land the ship.
Yeah.
Let's.
It's an airship. You land it.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. That's fine. That's fair.
I don't know.
I will say though that it. Because even in the second act, like it does start to stretch a little bit.
For me, it was like right halfway in that second act where I was like, all right, okay, this is starting to go.
And so then certain questions start to arise, like how long is this going to be? And is this going to be satisfying at the end? Mm-hmm. Because I have worries at this point.
Right.
I will say that I think that it nails the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I was very satisfied with it. A game hasn't made me cry that hard since Spiritfarer.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very well written. It's very.
I agree.
It's telling an excellent story. I love the characters. There are characters in this game that I will never forget.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of that also has to do with just the incredible amount of animation and how well detailed it is and how nuanced it is.
Yeah,
it really makes these 2D characters pop in a way that. Even a game like The Last of Us has trouble with.
Right.
That's pretty impressive because I guess they're very different types of games, but I feel that it's probably, to me, it seems like it would be more difficult to get nuanced emotion across from a piece of pixel art that's zoomed out
for sure.
as opposed to like a polygonal model that is mapped off of a real person performing like the scene, right?
Facial capture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a really big feather in Until Then's cap. Can't recommend it enough. If you enjoy these type of like really heavily story-based games, it is light on actual gameplay.
Yeah, some of the mini games are just not good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't need to be there. But yeah.
Yeah. But I'm still glad that I took the journey.
Yeah. Me too.
And as I was telling Justin before the show, we've had like a couple listeners like actually pick it up because of us talking about it. Weston from Big Nerd Gaming said he's going to pick it up soon.
Yeah, it's really
once
good.
He finishes some of the games he's working on right now. And that's one of the things that I love about video game podcasts is when a podcast goes to bat for a game that you might not know of or might not be interested in. And then you hear them talk about it and you're like, actually, I should check that out.
Yeah.
And I think that also stems from like my retail days, right? Like one of my favorite things about working at Game Fellas was being like a video game sommelier where someone would come in looking for something. They didn't know what. They were just looking for a new game to play. And it's like, okay, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me what you like. And, let me provide you with like 3 to 4 games to choose to look at. I'm not going to overwhelm you. And then let's narrow that down to maybe 2.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to the systems and fire them up for you and see what you prefer.
Yeah.
And, I don't think to my knowledge, I never had like somebody bring back a game that I recommended.
Well, there you go.
Because they didn't like it.
Well, there you go.
So, if that happened, it was like on a day that I was off. So like I didn't see the return.
Yeah.
But
I have a question regarding Until Then. Did you get did you understand what was happening in the bus coin rhythm game?
No.
Okay,
because
thank God. I couldn't.
I was going for either of the trophies, and so I actually restarted.
Okay.
Because at first I was like, okay, I've got a good rhythm to fail. Because I was putting like the coin into the trash on every one. And I was like, okay, then I'll just go for that one. And then I got one into the guy's hand, and I was like, well, I got to start over.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, I'll go for putting it in his hand. And then I fucked that up too. but the timing seemed the same.
I didn't understand what the hell I was even like. It doesn't tell you what you're supposed to push or do, and I couldn't figure it out. Like the entire time,
You're
I was
supposed to push the button on the beat, but the beat, like to me, it was like it. There were times when I would hit it on the same beat, but I would get a different outcome.
It was really weird. And the fact that it's like, don't get a single one as an achievement, it seems like they knew and they just refused to fix it, which I kind of appreciate. To some degree.
I guess maybe if I just hadn't engaged with the game, I could have gotten that trophy, but I was actually actively trying to. I got the timing to put it in the trash.
Too. I was sitting there, and then towards the middle of it, I was like, I have no idea what it wants me to do, actually. I'm trying to figure it out, and I can't figure it out. And I got one, and I don't know how I did it. Yeah. It was weird. But yeah, it is a great ending.
It does. And there's this one, okay. I will say this because I haven't wanted to talk in detail about this game, but in the first act, it's on like the first day that you play, because the main character he's like a slacker. They call him a crammer because he just kind of does all of his work last minute.
I can relate.
It's such incredible comedic timing, Justin, and I loved it so much.
Yeah,
where he's sitting or he's fallen asleep in art class, and his friend wakes him up. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, hey, did you get your poster done?
Yeah.
And he's like, poster? And she's like, yeah, for the project? Project? And then it cuts to like her, and she's like, yeah, this is what I did. And she like unrolls her poster.
Right.
And he looks at it with like this confused look on his face. And then he looks at the front of the class and like all the other kids are putting up posters. And then he looks over at like someone else, like putting finishing touches on it.
Yeah.
And then like it cuts to him and like it waits just long enough for like the realization to dawn on him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, how much time do I have?
Yeah.
And she's like, 7 minutes. And he's like, I can do it.
Yeah.
I laughed. Like that made me legitimately laugh out loud.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's a good game.
It really is. Yeah. I'm really glad that I played it. And then the other thing that I finished in the last week is I got to the end of This Bed We Made.
Oh, okay, cool.
That kind of LA Noire style 50s game where you're playing a hotel maid.
Right.
And I think you'll be surprised to hear this from me in particular, Justin.
Okay.
That is a game that I wish was about 3 times longer.
Wow, that is surprising. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this game. You can finish it in about 4 hours, maybe less, once you know what you're doing. And I will say there is a ton of like variables to the game.
Okay.
I was going through the trophy list after I finished it, and there's like 7 or 8 different endings. Because there's all these different things that can happen.
Right.
And, character states that can change depending on how you go about things. That's really cool.
It is cool.
I think what I would have liked, and maybe for a sequel, I don't know how well this game did.
Yeah,
but
hard to say.
I could see them expanding this with a sequel, because what I would like, what I really would have preferred, because obviously, the mystery in the game kind of revolves around these 3 people's rooms, because they are, you find out that there is some sort of connection between them, however improbable that seems at the beginning.
Right.
I think it would have been cool if there's an overarching story that's focused on the main character and the people at the hotel, but as you're going through that story, you're solving little, like, smaller mysteries in the rooms as people are coming and going, instead of just this one thing that you get to the bottom of and then credits roll.
Right.
I really, and I think it would have been neat if, like, maybe like it actually doesn't just take place in the hotel. Maybe at a certain point on a day off, she goes to investigate something. Like, she gets so invested, right, that she ends up like snooping around, at a cafe or something that to try to find some more information. Like, it starts to seep into her personal life, and maybe we explore, like, does it wreck her life because she's getting too obsessed with like the personal lives of these guests that she's intruding upon. I think that you could go to some really cool places with this format. I wouldn't even mind if they did like an episodic thing.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. I wanted more. Like, I finished it and I was like, God damn, like, that was really good. I'm sorry that it's done.
Yeah. Okay.
I might actually play through it again just to like see, like,
what different stuff you can do. Yeah. That might be the point of it, kind of.
I think it is, but even then, I still would like, because like LA Noire. So LA Noire is way too long.
Yeah, that is a long game. Yes,
but I do like the way that like you would have like here's this case, and then you wrap that up,
right.
And then there's another case, and you wrap that up. But while you're doing that, there's also his story,
right,
and like his ascension through like the different desks at the precinct and stuff like that. It needs. I think even back in the day, I was conflicted because I felt that game needed a big chunk of it cut out, but I could not for the life of me figure out what should.
That's always the thing, right? Yeah, it's like, okay, but what do you cut?
Yeah, because all of it was really good. Right. It's just like, this is going like that. I don't know that I needed 60 hours of this.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been like over the moon with 20.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I liked all the cases, so I really don't know what I would have gotten rid of.
It's tough to say. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt that same with Portal 2, because I feel like Portal 2 is too long. My knee-jerk reaction is to cut from the middle part of the game, but that's all the Cave Johnson stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get rid of that because that's all like comedy gold.
Yeah.
But like there's something about the way those levels kind of drag on, at least in my memory. I've only played it the one time. Yeah, but that's the part where I remembered being like, oh man, this game's way longer than Portal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, way longer than Portal.
Yeah. Well, that kind of reminds me of something. I've been playing some stuff. I finished Minds Beneath Us, which is kind of a cyberpunk sci-fi thing. Basically kind of a story-based, walk around point and click type thing. Not really so much point and click though. There's not much of that. It's more conversation based. Just in case nobody remembers me talking about this, because it's kind of a weird one. So I finished it, and not to beat this drum, that one I think went on a little too long. But at the same time, in the same token, I don't know what I'd cut from it,
right?
Because it has. So I got halfway through, and I was like, I'm really liking this. This is good, and then it kind of starts to go a different direction, and I was like, I don't quite like this bit as much. And then it got to the end, and I was like, this needed more, but also it went on for too long.
Right.
It's really weird.
Yeah. I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
And, because I always think about it like, I guess maybe because, I worked in editorial on Pixelbit, but also I edit a podcast. So I always think of things in terms of like, this needed an editor, but it's like, but what do you edit? Like, where are the cuts made?
I don't know. And this,
sometimes I feel like it could be as simple as just making certain sequences shorter. That we were talking about that with Until Then before the show.
Yeah.
Like there's certain parts of the end where it just feels like if you just cut this bit in half, like this sequence, like it would feel tighter, and I wouldn't get this sense of it dragging.
Yeah. You can cut to the good stuff in Until Then a couple times, and it probably would get rid of that feeling. And I think that might be the same here. There's a lot of parts where they do like Until Then, but it's more like free roamy, like because you're kind of exploring like this one. The main place is like this build. It's just this like office building type thing, and you have different floors that you can go to, and it's called a farm. And it has its own, offices and stuff like that you're kind of going back and forth between. And there's little like conversations and shit that you can catch, which is always kind of funny in that game because you stop right next to them to hear them. And they do make a joke about it at some point. Like somebody just stops the entire game and is like, "Why are you just standing there?" And then it has a whole thing. And I was like, "That's a good bit. Like that bit." But because of that, you kind of make it a habit to, after almost any story event, well, I need to go everywhere, else I'm going to miss a little conversation that might add something. So you start going everywhere, and then nothing happens, and then eventually you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to go everywhere, just fuck it. But yeah, it's I truly with my whole heart feel that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has kind of ruined a certain portion of media, because everybody wants to do the post-credits set up the sequel now, and I really am starting to hate that. I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
it works for them. It works for them.
And let's be fair, they weren't the first ones
to
do that.
They weren't.
But,
absolutely not. But they really popularized it.
They did, and I think it's actually bit them in the ass with these last movies because and I hadn't really thought about this until I was talking to a friend of the show, John Gholson, but he was like, you know, with the previous movies, they would be setting up like it would be leading into either the next movie or the next Avengers movie,
right?
But like now, like what like if you think about what they've shown, like what do we have? Yeah. It's like they're just introducing characters. And it's like, yeah, what are they for? And it's like sometimes, and I was like, well, maybe they're just trying to set up the direct sequel to this particular movie, but it doesn't feel like that either.
Yes.
And so then it makes this block of movies, this phase, like feel like there's no plan.
Yeah.
It feels weird.
And it kind of goes into this with this game. And I'm going to really try hard not to spoil anything. I just want to kind of give the gist of what you're doing in each act. Because it's so, you know, there's the opening sequence, right? Where they introduce kind of the idea. And that's the part that it was on a stream I did. It was it's the demo. I think the demo is still available. I think you can still get that. And it kind of sets that whole thing up, and it's really cool. That opening sequence is really, really awesome. So then it kind of sets a tone as to where you think what you think this thing is about. And then it goes, no, it's actually office politics. And I was like, oh, didn't expect this, but okay, it'll probably go somewhere. And then you do the office politics arc, and it's actually pretty good. You actually start to get slowly into it, and you're like, this part of the game that I didn't think I would be into at all is actually pretty all right, and starts to go different places and stuff. And then it kind of goes, okay, now this other thing. And then you're like, oh, all right, this other thing's fine, but it's not quite as good as for whatever reason, I'm not as into it as I was the previous bit. And then you start thinking about like, when is it really going to come around and tell me like kind of what's going on, and when are we going to get answers to this? And then suddenly you're at the end and you're like, I guess never. I guess we're never going to get the answers to this. And then it kind of gives you the teaser, and you're like, oh, so you're just setting up for the sequel. I don't know if I care for that.
Yeah, you know, and bold to assume that your indie pixel art point and click adventure game is going to take off enough to warrant said sequel. That's my thing, right? So I don't like it in a first property, right? Like if you are doing a sequel and you feel fairly confident that you can do a third, then I'm more inclined to entertain like a setup for that sequel.
I agree.
I even as a kid, dude, even as a little kid, when I saw the Masters of the Universe movie, and at the end of the credits, when Skeletor comes, like he sticks his head out of like the vat of goo that he fell into where you thought he was dead,
right,
and says, "I'll be back." I was like, "No, you won't."
Yeah,
well, like because that movie was so terrible. Like even as a kid, I knew that movie was terrible.
Boy. Yeah,
and it's a weird thing when you're setting up something that might never happen.
I don't want to give the wrong impression. It's not a terrible game. It's still pretty good.
I'm not suggesting that.
I know.
I'm just saying that, like,
I know.
You know, the indie, like video game market in general is already like so clogged, and it's, you know, this is another one of those where I'm not hearing anybody else talk about it.
Me neither. So it doesn't seem like it set the world on fire or anything. I liked it overall. Like I liked it. But I was higher on it last time than I am now. After the second half of the game, like I was kind of like, this is kind of starting to lose me a good amount. And then I kept kind of waiting, like again, the opening of the game is really cool, and I kept waiting for the intersect, like where these eventually these things are gonna come together, and it's gonna be really cool. And they kind of kept like hinting towards it and kind of setting it up, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm waiting for it. This is gonna be pretty neat. And they kind of like. They're really vague about the answers, and then you suddenly realize, I don't think they actually have the answers, and I don't think we're actually going to see that here. Instead, they went a different route, and then ultimately the thing that they lead you to this big moment that you're going to go and do this whole big thing, and I was like, okay, that might be where the intersect is, and then you get there and it's like, no, it's a different thing. And for some reason, I'm kind of immune to what they're showing me. Like they're going for a shock value thing, and I'm like, I guess. Like I was like, I guess, yeah, okay.
I have an important question for you.
Sure.
Because I definitely want to play this game.
You should. Like, it's cool.
I'm going to play this, but we are getting, towards the end of the year, we're going to have to start having actual conversations about setting up our Game of the Year stuff, because I think we need to start like recording those in November so that we have them for to air during the break. Right. So time is running out. Is this something that I should focus on getting done before then, or can this sit until our break?
This can sit. Yeah.
Okay. You're probably not gonna make a
No,
big
it's not. It's not going to be in my top 5 or anything like that. Okay. Put it like that. It might be in the bottom somewhere because I haven't played all that much this year. But I'll put it like this: I enjoyed Esports Godfather a little bit more than I enjoyed this game. So
say no more.
Yeah, that's it. Like I had more fun playing Esports Godfather than I did the end of this game. It's not bad. It's good. Like it really is. But and what is good in there is good. There are bits that I kind of they kind of go, don't do this, and just to see if you're going to do it. And then so I would kind of listen every now and then I would get done and I'd be like, oh, I thought there was going to be more, and I thought I was going to get a chance to do that. This is kind of a spoiler, I guess, but like somebody from the beginning shows back up, and then you can kind of like say, hey, I was the one that was there, but I didn't do it, and then I thought I was going to get a chance to do that and see what how they reacted, but then I didn't get a chance to, and I was like, well, now I'm kind of pissed at myself because I didn't do that, but the guy told me not to. It's the whole thing. But anyway, it's a decent game for what it is. I liked there are characters in it that I really liked, and there are characters that were really well written and complex for the most part. But at the same time, parts of it kind of lost me, and I guess you go in thinking you're going to get the answers to certain things, and you just kind of don't. Maybe if my expectations were that going in, then maybe it'd be a little bit different, but I don't know. Mine's beneath us. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
It is a little
bit. It's because it sounds like it's holding too much back for something later on. And also, maybe it's I don't know if this is like a first time game developer or something like that.
It seems like it. I could be wrong.
It sounds like they have like a really good idea, but maybe not necessarily like thought it all the way through. Not that they didn't think it all the way through.
Yeah,
but aren't really sure about
where they want to go. Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. They had an idea for this one, but they ultimately the universe as a whole, they have a good idea, and they still do, and maybe it'll go somewhere in the future if they make more of them. Like if they made a sequel to this, I'd definitely play it. Put it like that. It's weird. But yeah,
I think that's where I always end up with like, because there's like, I think I've talked about it with you before. Like I have this idea to do like a fantasy based. Well, I have 2 book ideas. Both are fantasy based. One is a fantasy based erotic novel, but I want it to have like a really interesting like RPG-ish style world, right? With like interesting characters and interesting like an actual interesting story to go along with the naughty bits. And then the other thing that I have is I realized it's been done, but not the way that I wanted it to. There's a Will Smith movie on Netflix called Bright.
Okay,
that is kind of this idea where the idea of, because you know how like in all like the fantasy that you read or play video games of, things always are like, oh, this happened 13,000 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you've had like, your world has had no advancements like for that multiple thousands of years. Like everything has just been like this. It's been swords and sorcery and like no advancement of society for all of these millennia, right? And it's like, I want to write a world where it actually feels like the modern day, but there is all of that shit thousands of years in the past where there were the dwarves and the elves. I always think that would be cool too. I always even want to go more in the future where it's like, there's a bunch of weird fantasy bullshit, but also like technology is cyberpunk level weird, and now we're combining this shit, and it's crazy. Yeah, and I think that's also kind of what Shadowrun is. I didn't realize that until I did play that Shadowrun game a couple years ago. Yes. But yeah, like, and my idea was like, and so like the elves are going to be like the like your salt of the earth, like workers of the land type people. Like they're not going to be like your highfalutin, like that type of elf. They're going to be more like kind of in the sticks type people because they're working the land. And like the dwarves are going to be kind of like the CEO type people because they made all their money in the mines, right? And then they were able to use that to then get a leg up on like the rest of the world as far as like investing in stuff. And so they just kind of became like the top of the roost and stuff like that. Yeah. I have ideas for it, but my point is that for all of that stuff, I never really, I have the germination of it, but I never have like the A to B to C part of it. And that's kind of the crucial part. I got nothing. Oh man. But yeah. Anyway, Minds Beneath Us, decent. Not bad. Could use improvement, I guess. I'm kind of it's one of those things that if somebody was like, if you were looking for something to play and you were into that kind of stuff, try the demo out. If the demo's intriguing, give it a shot. And it's not bad. It's not a waste of time by any stretch, but at the same time, just know kind of the answers and a lot of the cooler stuff that they introduce may not go where you hope it goes or want it, or it kind of doesn't pay off as well as you might want. But decent overall. Let's see, what else did I do? You know what? Before I talk about anything else, it's been a little bit, Julian, and I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry for this, but chill. It has been a bit. It has been a bit. I was low key hoping that you had forgotten about it. No, I didn't. It's time for the 311 minute. I have two 311 facts for us today. 311, this is the first fact about 311. 311 is not known for their controversial opinions on men's lacrosse. They're not known for that. They're not known for it? No, okay. Nobody knows about, not known for it. And our second 311 fact comes from my friend Lonnie at work, who we often talk about 311 for some reason. And his fact is 311 fans are just beach juggalos. Oh man. Yeah. I feel that that's a sick burn, but I don't know enough about 311 to really say for sure. Well, that's his take on it. So, yeah. And I respect it. I feel that Bill from A Gamer Looks at 40 is wincing in pain right now. I mean, because he's like, you're not wrong. Yeah. I mean, it's true. And that's been the 311 minute. Thank you for your time. Chill. It's very low. I got to turn that one up, but we'll do it another day. No, because now it sounds how it's supposed to sound. Because I before you got the Roadcaster, I was having to like significantly nerf it because it would come in like a freight train. Well, it still should be louder than what it is. It's very soft. I'll work on it. I'll work on it. Okay. I'll listen in post and see if
it's a little low. It's a little low.
Yeah, I do have to like whenever you do the
see. I haven't hit that one in a long time, so now I have to remember where it's at and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh well, shit. Now I have new buttons now, Julian.
Oh no.
Yeah, not right now. I mean, you've heard them all now, but I'm just they're newer buttons, so I'm used to those now. Like I have this one. See, I got that one. It's a good button.
Yeah. See, now that one's loud.
That's a good button. That is loud. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But I like it. You got the hooch, Julian. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I'm gonna have a sip of my hooch right now, actually.
Great. That's fantastic. Anyway, other things I played. Oh boy. I guess it's time to talk about this. I've been playing The Sims. Who cares? That's what I've been doing in between everything. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Dude, we both need to get our shit together. Like, we've got so many games we need to play.
Not really, though. Here, and I'll talk about it right now. I, honest to God, I have Yakuza. I'm sorry, I keep calling it Yakuza. Like a Dragon. Mm-hmm. That's really the only one I can think of that I missed that I haven't played yet. Like, for me personally, that's the one. Other than that, I don't really care. A lot of the stuff's coming out. Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out.
I'll grant you that. And so I will grant you that. And it may come down to me crunching to get, I'm not going to fucking kill myself to play Like a Dragon, but we'll see.
That one in particular, because I really want to do a spoiler cast. 100%. And also, like 100%. I think you'll love it. It's funny too. So I like to watch John Oliver like last week tonight, but I don't have HBO, so I just watched the YouTube version that comes out. And this week he did a story on Hawaii, and I was like, I know so much more about Hawaii because of Infinite Wealth. It's kind of cool. Yeah. And that actually drove home a lot of the stuff that I learned from the game. And I was like, yeah man, I'm like this like. It sucks, like, what's happened to Hawaii, and I had no idea, because we didn't get taught this shit. And then talking to, like, Moses the Well-Read Mage to, like, clarify some points for me, and I was like, man, that's one of the things that I love about, modern video games, is when you can actually, like, learn something about different cultures.
Absolutely.
Until then, right? Like, I knew nothing about the Philippines, and now it's like I feel like I have a nice little, like, snapshot into, like, day-to-day life there.
Exactly, cool. I agree. I do want to play that one. That, trust me, it has not left my mind to play that game. I'm going to do it. It is going to happen. But that's really it on the backlog for me personally, because everything else that's come on is just like, I don't care. Like even the bigger ones I'll look at for a little bit and I'll go, I don't give a shit about that. That ain't for me.
I still, obviously I still want to finish Rebirth. That's the big one.
Yeah.
For me. And I want to finish Dragon's Dogma because I really liked what I played of that. Yeah. I know it's not like to your taste.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of like I would call like B tier games that I want to go back and play. Yeah. So I haven't talked about it yet because I'm saving it for October, but I picked up Alone in the Dark on sale.
Oh, right.
Because I think I really loved the demo and I think that is up my alley. Yeah. Knowing that it's not like, an A+ game by any stretch, right? Yeah. I still want to play Banishers, which is that action RPG from Don't Nod that came out earlier in the year.
That one looks kind of interesting. Maybe I'll mess with that. Who knows?
Yeah. Rise of the Ronin is on my list.
Oh yeah,
but that's
I forgot
one
that came out. I never finished it.
At this point, I'm probably just going to push that into the break. Yeah. If I pick it up.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game to run around and do dumb shit in and have some Souls fights. And other than that, there's really not much going on in it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm comfortable, like, just kind of pushing that off, down the road.
Yeah, you're not missing nothing.
And then there's the trio of like stuff that came out on Game Pass recently, Kunitsigami, Flintlock, and Dungeons of Hinterberg. I can tell that I like Flintlock enough to finish it. Kunitsigami sounds right up my alley. Like, I've heard quite a few people who had really like ridden that game off who have since played it and been like, no, this is actually like I can't stop playing.
Okay,
so that's really
that might
cool
be all right. Yeah,
yeah. And then Dungeons of Hinterberg, I liked how it looked, but I don't know.
It looks great. It has a really cool look. The soundtrack's really good. I just do not like Zelda style games. So
and that's totally fair.
I watched enough of it to go, okay, I get what this is, and I'm cool. But yeah.
And then, very quickly, not to turn this into this type of discussion, but I think it's worth mentioning. Like, so we've got Star Wars Outlaws coming out real soon. Yep. We've got the Plucky Squire is one that I'm waiting for. They just announced that's coming in September.
Oh, that was the storybook one or whatever, right? Yeah, that one looked cool.
Looks real charming.
That one looks cool.
Space Marine 2, Silent Hill 2 remake, Dragon Age. I want to play that new Zelda game, like the one starring Zelda.
Okay, yeah.
And that's coming soon.
Dragon Age and Star Wars are the two big ones for me.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else that's coming out. A lot of it got pushed. Well, Avowed got pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Hard to say.
Yeah, and and there's also I'm in a pretty tight financial bind, so I'm gonna have to really be very choosy with what I pick up. So I will be waiting for reviews on quite a few of those, because I just can't afford to take a chance.
Right.
Like I at this point I'm probably skipping Silent Hill 2 until it's on sale, simply because I kind of know what to expect.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And as much as I am looking forward to Space Marine 2, I probably can't really justify that for full price. So for me, and then Star Wars will heavily depend on reviews.
Yeah, I want to play that one, but yeah.
The Assassin's Creed game too. Like I'm really looking forward to that one.
Oh, so right. I forgot that's coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, that might actually be a soon from day one purchase for me.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, other than as far as and I forgot about remake, and I think that says a lot that I just keep forgetting about it, and I don't I'm not, something about it is just not landing with me, and every time I go back to it, I play it for about 10 minutes and I go, I don't really want to do this. And I don't know what.
No, I get it.
I'll go through like a whole dungeon and just be like, just not really liking it.
Yeah.
Short-term thing, speaking of The Sims, there's a game coming out that I am looking forward to. It's got a weird name. It's called Inzoi, Inzoi. It is a Korean developer making a Sims game, and it's basically realistic as fuck looking characters, but The Sims. And I'm kind of into it. They're gonna put their character creator out on the 20th. So if you're listening, whenever this comes out, it might be out already. I don't know. It's basically, from the looks of it, from just a glance, Julian, it kind of looks like Black Desert character creation. Like that's how detailed the characters are looking. And I'm like, all right, you have my attention. I'm into that.
How jiggly are these butts?
It might be really jiggly. I don't know. I haven't gotten in there yet, man. I'm looking forward to messing around, spinning the tires on that one, because it looks pretty neat.
Yeah. We've been saying that there's something interesting you can do with a hyper realistic simulation like that, right?
There's a whole community of people that mod The Sims that way, to where they just make it as realistic as they possibly can. Mm-hmm. And it's really neat. Sometimes you can go that route, and then eventually a random townie is what they call the people that just show up in The Sims randomly will show up and look just like a complete freak compared to the realistic person you have standing next to you. And that always does it for me, where I'm like, okay, I don't have the time to edit every single person that spawns any of this.
You don't understand though, Justin. See, what's happening in that scenario is that is a video game character that is coming from their game into the real world. I've seen movies like this.
Okay, that's fair.
So that's what's going on in that little corner.
It's an isekai,
sim.
is what you're saying.
Exactly.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that could be interesting.
Yeah. And they have their own madcap adventures and everything, but you didn't follow that, so you didn't see all that go down.
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I saw that in the Sonic movie.
Yeah. But Yeah. Anyway, there's a good portion of people that do that, and now I'm curious. It's always been a route that I hoped that they would go. So we'll see if that game's any good when it actually comes out. I'm not sure. I don't think they have a release date yet, but there's a Steam page, and apparently the character creator is going to come out for a little while, and I'm kind of into that. Apparently, if you make a character in it when the game does come out, it will you can transfer them over. So
nice,
which I'm like,
I really appreciate stuff like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
I had so much fun painstakingly creating my Jason Statham character for Saints Row 4 before it came out. And then he was just ready to go. And I had just way too much fucking fun romping through that story as Jason fucking Statham because the voice fit too perfectly.
Yeah, it is.
I made him look so good.
Hell yeah. But yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to. We'll see when it comes out. Might be this. They're real cagey about the fucking release date of this thing, but they're putting the character editor out, and I'm like, huh? I don't know if it'll be this year or not, but I'm just paying attention to it. Terrible name.
Oh yeah, that seems like something that needs to like change for a worldwide release, but.
Nope, they're committed. Okay. They are committed to this shit. The term Zoe is what they're calling their Sims. Zoes are Sims.
Okay.
So INZOI is the full. Okay. So in Zoe, but that's what they're going for. I didn't do it.
All right. So I guess it's not necessarily. I mean, I don't know if that's a Korean word or not, but it almost sounds like maybe that's like their in-universe thing. So.
That's what they're going with. Yeah.
That's
when
fine.
You hear that, it's like, okay, I get it. I guess that's.
Back in 2001, I thought it was really dumb that they didn't translate the name Onimusha, but here we are. Like everybody seemed fine with it, and so now. It's very rare when you have games get different titles for regions.
It's one of those things that once you do remember it, you do remember it. So that it has that going for it. It doesn't blend in with the bland, names of a lot of things that are sadly coming out now because we've used all the names. We've used them all. We're starting to run out, and it's sad. What are you going to do?
I roll my eyes so hard when a game has legends or origins in their title. Like Yep.
What are they going to do though?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like those are pretty played out.
Yeah, probably. They probably is. But anyway.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Ashley Chang is a cop on the mean streets of Brighton.
Freeze, dirtbag.
She grew up idolizing John McClane, Dirty Harry, and Martin Riggs.
I grew up idolizing John McClane, Dirty Harry, and Martin Riggs. But being a cop isn't as cool as I thought it would be.
Ashley's learning the hard way that being a millennial cop has its own set of challenges.
That's my switchblade, man.
I just can't with you today.
We're assigning you to the K9 unit, Chang.
I'm getting a pupper? Adulting is hard. Don't even talk to me until I've had my coffee.
Don't worry. Stuff happens in this movie, we swear.
Irma Gerd, what a good doggo.
Ashley Chang, Millennial Cop. It's a cop movie for a different generation.
Hey man, can I get a ride? I walked here. Still playing The Sims, sadly. I don't know why, I just keep doing it. In that mode. But the thing that we need to talk about, I had a stream. This sounds like a Martin Luther King speech. It's not. I had a stream where I played and finished the game Superscout. And I would like to start this off by saying on that stream, I said, I think this rates about almost last, but not quite. And I would like to amend that. It is dead last. It is worse than Beauties. They're all after me.
See, this is what I have. This is the bone I have to pick with you.
I thought about it more, and I'm like, no. Super Scout is worse.
We're about to get heated about fucking Chinese dating.
That's right. No, Super Scout is worse.
Dude, Super Scout, it doesn't have a story, Justin.
No, it doesn't. It's bad.
It's missing
it's so bad.
Oh, wait. No, never mind. I don't know. No, we're on the same page.
Okay.
What you had said on the stream was the bone I had to pick with you.
No, I thought about it more, and I was like, no.
I get confused.
The other one is worse.
Yeah, this is the worst.
Yeah,
yes.
Beauty's They're All After Me has some hardcore translation problems. It's not the best game. It's pretty bad. It lingers on a lot of shit. It's a mess. It really is a mess. But it's 3 hours.
It has a story.
It's 3 hours, and it does have a story. You understand who everyone is. Super Scout is so fucking all over the place. I actively gave up on everything. Like, I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I was talking about this with my friend Blissy because she was there for the whole stream also, and so we had thoughts. Yeah. But my takeaway was that I got the sense that some dudes wanted an excuse to like film pretty ladies.
It's possible.
And just came up with scenarios to have them in various levels of sexiness that because like at one point, like one of the girls, and I saw that they noticed this in wardrobe in a later scene, but one of her shirts was just like, it was just like straight up under boob like the whole time.
Oh, right.
And then like when she had that outfit later, she had something on underneath it, and it's like, she must have realized after and then asked to like cover up. Because obviously the people filming were fine with it.
They didn't say anything. Yeah.
But so like, because there's a setup to this game that is not given to you
until you're at least an hour or two in. Yeah. And then they drop it on you like, okay, this is what's going on.
But it has very little actual impact on anything except when it says, oh, you ran out of money and you need to go back and figure out how to make more money, and it's like you didn't give any choices on shit for that to happen. And then so there's I'm sorry, I know this is your thing, but like I love this. This is great. This is great because I was there watching it and I was getting tired.
Julian, you wanted to skip out on the streams, and this is why I'm glad you're there, because now you can. Now these are the things that now we can come together on. Yeah. It's great.
No, you're right. You're right. There's fundamental things that are missing from this quote unquote story. Okay.
Yeah. What such as
that are no. I mean, like the setup, the basic premise, what the character's motivation is, a fucking love story, right? Like it's a dating sim with no dating.
Yeah.
But by all means, let's have like 4 scenes about wrapping up your hands before boxing.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't we do that?
The only payoff being to have a sexy boxing scene in slow motion.
I mean, that's what we're setting up. Yeah, that's it.
I clipped this from your stream and I posted it on Twitter.
The cards.
It made me laugh
I've seen
so
that.
hard.
Yeah.
Because there's this nonsensical card game that has nothing to do with anything that goes on way too long. When you were like at round 2, it was way too long.
7 rounds.
It's 7 rounds.
It's 7 rounds. I was like, okay, I have to be adamant about not skipping things in these because we need to see everything. It got to round.
If you had not skipped after round 3, I was going to quit.
It got to round 3, and I was like, I'm not. If this goes to round 4, we're done. I'm not. We are skipping right past this, and it sure as shit went to round 4, and I was like, no, thank you, no fucking thank you. Wow, yeah, it's. That game was like, I want to say my playtime in it, and I'm not counting breaks. I'm going to say it was like 6 hours probably to get through that whole thing. That's let me do some comparing here, because I want to say like Love Is All Around is about a 6-hour game too, but Love Is All Around makes sense and actually goes places.
And the thing is that I'm sure I did miss quite a bit of it because I actually
did you though? Streams, did you actually miss anything?
Well, Well, I mean, of your stream. Like, I don't know what happened while I was gone because I popped out over to the convenience store on like both streams to go get like a drink and some snacks. But the first stream, like the first half of the game, seemed very focused on that relationship with the main character and his boss. And I was like, this is a really sweet thing. I don't understand what his weird like Faustian deal has to do with any of this, but I like this. Like, if this is the romance, this is a cool romance. And then the second half had nothing to do with that shit. And like, there were all these other girls that showed up that have nothing to do with anything. I don't understand where. I don't understand anything in that game. No, other than
At some point,
I was happy when Duo was on the screen because.
Let me just break down the entire thing.
Can you?
I'm gonna try. No, I can't. That's the thing. But I just want to like structure this for people listening so they can understand how fucking nonsense it is. Okay, we start out. We're on a blind date. This is the beginning of the game. All right, I did this for somebody else. Let me try to do it for everybody out there. Let's see if I can do it. All right.
I just got to say real quick, I love the fact that there's somebody that you were subjecting, like,
they didn't
in conversation.
They didn't see it. I was just like, okay, let me tell you.
No. I know, but that's what I'm saying is that you're having a discussion with somebody about this bonkers ass Chinese dating
sim. I needed to tell somebody. I just needed to get it out. So okay, we start out. We're on a blind date. Okay, and we're there, and we're doing it. Okay, and you're talking to the girl. And then her friend is there, and her friend cannot talk. All right. More about that later. Then another girl shows up, and she's like, "Hey, I'm here, and I need to talk to you." And she's famous or whatever. And they're all like, "Oh man, you know her?" And you're like, "Yep, I do." It's a whole thing. So then you go out to her car. After you get a choice or whatever if you want to stay or go. It's arbitrary. Nobody cares. So you go out to the car. And you're talking to her, and she's like, "I need you to use your thing that you have." You don't know what the hell they're talking about. She's like, "I need you to show up. You're gonna talk to this girl, and it's gonna be great." And you're like, "All right, I guess I'll do that." So then we cut to your roommate, who is Duo, who Julian is apparently liking. I don't know.
She's a gamer girl with daddy issues. What's not to love?
I mean, that's your thing, I guess. But anyway, so we show up there, and then we get revealed the Superscout ability for Duo. Okay, so we gotta use it on her. So we pinch her cheeks and do something else. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Complete the ritual.
We complete the ritual. Okay, we complete the ritual. What does that mean? I don't fucking know yet. So then we continue and some more, then we go to work and we're late for work and the boss is quite upset with us or whatever. And everybody's standing there. And then we talk to the boss and the boss is like, "Hey, I need you to pretend to be married to me." And you're like, "All right, guess we're doing that." So then you do that for a while.
That feels like an HR violation. I swear.
No, it's fine. Pretty sure it's China. What are we doing?
Sure.
Different culture. We can do whatever. So, then we do that for a while. We're doing that. You're pretending to be the wife and she has a child that we do learn is not her child. There's a sister involved that it's actually her child, and we find that out, and it's a whole thing. And
Julian's trying to not mack on the hot auntie because
I figured Julian was really into the aunt.
She's the sexiest lady in the whole game.
I figured that was I did figure that for you. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to call it out, but I in the back of my head I'm like, Julian's probably into this girl. I'm pretty sure. So anyway, that's a whole thing. So then we cut back, and now we go back home. I believe we go back home. And now we meet this girl, and she has red hair. I don't remember. Lin something. She's Lin Jaya or something. They call her Jaya. It's very confusing. I don't understand which one it is.
She needs to eat like 10 sandwiches.
She's very skinny. All right. She's very thin. Yes. She is a very important character, but we don't know that yet. And so you show up there, and she's like, you need to go get these 3 coins back that you forgot all about giving away in the very beginning of the game. So go do that immediately. And you're like, okay. And you go and you call up that girl that you were on a blind date with, and she doesn't answer or whatever. So you call the girl that can't talk because she communicates via her phone. And she's like, I'll get them back. Don't you worry. So you get these 3 coins back or whatever. And I'm jumping around. I'm not really jumping around. This is kind of how it is. You get the 3 coins back. Then you are told by Lin Jaya that, hey, these fucking coins are magic, motherfucker. You need to be aware of that. And I forgot. There was a scene before this where Juby, the god of showbiz and entertainment, shows up, and then we get told that we have the Super Scout ability. That happens before the magic coins, because if we use the Super Scout ability and we make any money off of it, we'll go broke. And these magic coins prevent that some fucking how. I don't know how.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Yeah, because isn't it that any money that you are given, you will lose double that?
It's more that it's like 100 times that, something like that.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's a bad deal. Like, I don't understand. Like,
I don't know either. But they took it.
Because it's not even that he's getting the ability that he gets is to make stars out of girls, but that's only to help them. That does nothing for him, and it actively hurts him.
He's a nice guy. He really wants to help. Julian.
He wants to go. He wants to become homeless to help like these girls
basically
achieve stardom. I guess.
So anyway, that happened. Juby showed up, and she was in the famous girl. We also get introduced to the other girl, whose name I've honestly forgotten. But she's also there and important, and she's like trying to become a celebrity or something like that. And the whole bit there is the ritual involves her falling in love with you. So there you go.
Oh, that was the Justin pick, right? The cool.
She was cool. She was cool. Yeah, she had a short leather jacket. What am I supposed to do about that, Julian?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Although the girl with red hair is cool too, because she seems aggressive. So what are you gonna do? She has a katana a lot. That's cool. For no reason. I don't know why she had it. More on this in a second. So we get these 3 magic coins that now we can, and they introduce, I need to stress, they introduce this as a mechanic. They take you to a separate screen and they say, these magic coins, if you give them out, will prevent it'll prevent the money loss. So you're good. And you're like, okay, well, this is going to be a thing. I'm going to have to choose who I give these coins to, right? No, this never comes back ever. You never give any of the coins away. I can't stress that enough. It's wild. So anyway, after that, I can't remember exactly what happens from here because it's kind of a fucking blur. You're kind of doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you're a little bit all over the place. You're going. Then eventually we get to the dating scene where it's like, all right, Juby has planned a date out for you, and you gotta do this. And it doesn't really explain what's happening. You're supposed to pick one, and then you live the day out, and then you get to the end of the day. And this is where the boxing scene takes place and all that stuff. And you get to the end of the day, and it goes, okay, now if you spend money, we'll send you back in time if you want to do a different one. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll do that. And then you do it, and then you're like, oh, it's the same couple scenes again, but now there's different people. I don't really understand this, but fine. My affection with everyone is not going up at all. I don't really know how to build that. And then you get done with that. And then there's the card scene, because that was very important. And then suddenly and I was like, well, there's only like one more chapter left, right? And yes, there was one more chapter, and it was the ending. And they were like, all right, we've decided to start a talent agency. You're like, okay, is there more dating? No, this was a prequel. Shut up.
Oh, I forgot about that part of it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. It was a prequel the whole time.
And it ends almost like an 80s sitcom with like the freeze frame on everybody laughing. Like it's that type of ending.
I forgot to mention the best part. At some point, Juby shows back up. And this was the part where I said it was like jumping around a lot. Juby shows back up and says, hey, for whatever reason, the ability you normally have, the Superscout thing, that doesn't work right now. So you just can see into the people's hearts. You can see that. And they introduce the fucking concept of different timelines into the plot, where people are making other deals and dealing with weird stuff. Like Lin Jaya just has some dude that died that she brought back to life, but I'm pretty sure it's just the main character, but we don't know that. But they keep going. But in this timeline, it's different. You didn't have. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they don't explain any of it. They just leave it there. Nope. There's parts where the boss lady has flashbacks, and she's basically, I'm like, is she twins? Because she's talking to herself in different clothes.
No, I think that was supposed to be like different aspects of her persona, like
was
arguing. Yeah, like it was like her dark side and
okay.
like her
all right,
other
I'll
side.
get okay. I'll get you. You were paying more attention than I was on apparently, but
well, I mean, because also just like visually, right? Like one was dressed all in black, one was dressed all in white.
That's fair.
It was supposed to be almost like, you know, I don't know if it's supposed to be her yin and her yang, or just like different aspects of her personality.
Okay, and if you're seeing into their heart, yeah, sure, okay, I can see it. Okay, you've explained this. Yeah,
those scenes are where I was like, they just like scammed a bunch of pretty ladies into doing this project because they wanted to be around a bunch of pretty ladies, but it's not porn.
No.
But because all of those scenes feel like, oh yeah, we'll shoot some stuff for your for your portfolio. Right. That's fine, because it's all completely disconnected. But it's them trying to capital A.
They have a plot somewhere. I don't think they.
Do they?
No. Here's the thing. I don't think they know where it's going. But it's either that or it's so high concept or poorly translated, and that's always a thing that could be happening, is just like the translation's quite not quite there. But I don't think
so. The translation is definitely poor, but I think even a perfect translation.
No, I don't think so.
Because there
either.
are scenes that are clearly missing, like conceptually.
Yeah, and it maybe it's something we didn't unlock, but I don't think so, because I kept going back. There's a lot of times in the stream where I just stop everything and go look at what I was like missing, and there are like other things off to the side and stuff like that, but I don't think I was going to find the explanations that I was looking for at all.
Because even if you're doing an in media res thing where you want to have like some wacky hijinks happen before you explain what his deal is, that happens way too late into the story, and once it does, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it's
so
insane.
Oh man,
what a mess.
God,
Superscout is by far just it is kind of it. I had the same feeling as you. You're not alone in being like that. Like, did they just ask they just wanted to film a bunch of girls, is what it feels like. It's insane.
I will say it was a fun stream.
Yes.
So I was texting my friend Blissy about it, like we were, like texting back and forth, and then there were like, you know, a couple people in the chat also just like being like, what the fuck is this? Like,
I can't even explain it. Like, that's the fun. That's, I guess, the best part. Now I need to. I've decided the next time.
No. You don't need to play.
No. I'm not. Well, I might. I mean, Julian, we have to know what happens. Obviously, it's very important. But we'll burn that bridge when we get there. No, the next time I stream one of these, which will probably might be the next one, because I haven't thought of what the hell I'm going to stream tomorrow. But eventually, I do want to actually play through again. Love Is All Around pretty soon here, because I need to show what a good one of these is actually like.
Sure.
I just be like, look, they're not that bad. I mean, my Destiny Girls was fine. That one I had a pretty good time with. It was fine. But yeah, like I almost need to just prove it to myself that they're not the weirdest fucking shit. Although they're Love Is All Around is an insane ride, but it's fun.
I don't know if you saw it in the Discord, but Dennis Robertson did recommend to you the same game that I had mentioned to you.
Is that the
that Japanese one? Mono.
Oh yeah. I have that on my wish list, and we'll probably look into it pretty soon here. I don't think I bought it or anything. I haven't gone on a big FMV buying spree yet. Which every now and then I do. Usually at some point I'll find a bunch of them for like $5 or $6, and I'm like, well, let's buy like 6 of these. But yeah. I slowly the collection of Chinese FMV dating simulators is coming along, but yeah, I've changed course. At first I was like, well, that one was just really bad. Beauties, They're All After Me. That like nothing will probably be worse than that unless it's really really bad. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, dude, that game was 3 hours. This one was 6, and it just went nowhere. I was like, it's so much worse when, like, quality of it aside, I this is the biggest download game that I had, like the biggest, like disc wise, space wise. Superscout is 150.65 gigabytes.
What the fuck?
Yes, Julian. Now that I do have the high quality DLC that you can download, so it's maybe a little less than that if you don't have that, because I was like, well, I guess I need it in 60 frames a second in 4K or whatever, because I'm an insane person. But yes, it is with that, it is 150 gigabytes, that game. Before that, it was like 70 or 80. So yeah, it's nuts. Okay. They got only the highest technology. They are shooting for the moon and landing among the moon. I don't know. I don't really know what they're doing. Yeah, Superscout, it's a fucking mess. But I gotta know what happens at some point, Julian. I mean, just gonna tell you. I gotta know. I mean, you don't want to know?
I mean,
you do. Shut up. You do. You know you do. You know you do. We got to know what's going on with Lin Jaya. We got to know what's going on. Oh yeah, the girl that couldn't talk made a deal with Juby because and that's why she couldn't talk. I can't remember the details of it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's the kind of the thing you always come back to. It's like, this doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Duo sleeps in this plush clam, and I thought that was very cute.
She does sleep in a plush clam. She is kind of adorable in that way. I will give Duo that. She wouldn't be my choice, Julian, but you know.
I like that there's always a character in these games that just has a completely out of pocket name.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't fit with the rest of the cast.
Oh yeah.
Because the last one was like what Snow Inspector or something
snow
like
removal.
that, or
Snow
removal.
Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to think. There's one girl in Knowledge or No Lady. Just looking at the art, you'll go, one of these things is not like the other. And it's just, they just have some random white girl in the game, and that's fantastic to me. Because they just stick out. You're just like, but in the game it makes sense. You're like, oh, that's the foreign exchange student. Got it. It makes that okay. Understood. Because it's school themed. Knowledge or No Lady, still a solid number 2. And that one was only 3 hours too. The fuck, man. God,
there was a moment where it looked like this one was going to have to spill into a third stream, and I was like, please no.
And then thankfully I looked, because I was like, okay, how much do I actually have left? And I was like, okay, it's looking like it's one more chapter. Let's just fucking power through it. Or it was like a couple more, and yeah, that was after that card game. That card game almost fucking broke me, dude. That was.
Oh yeah, no.
That was, I can't, that's where I was like, oh, you just wanted to film girls is what you wanted to do here. Mm-hmm. You just, because.
And but the funny thing also is that like, they're not all like, it's fairly rare that they're doing like actual sexy stuff. So it's not like, so part of it is like, you just wanted to like have like now you know them, right? Like you have their numbers in your phone, right? And they're people that you know, and then let's see where it goes from there. That's the only explanation.
I got no idea what I don't think it's trying to sell you them on a date. It's trying to show you, well, this is what they're like, just, you know, out of just in whatever element, you know, just letting their hair down, playing some card games and doing meme dances or whatever the fuck that was. If you win the card game, you dance, or lose the card game. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Superscout, it's fucking mess. If you want them doing actual that kind of stuff, Julian, Knowledge or No Lady has a few scenes for you that come out of nowhere.
Not really. Like you might be surprised, but
I know I hated it. No, it was terrible.
Like
I'm just saying,
I didn't even want that.
It's weird.
I would have had more respect for it as a game if that was the like point,
right?
Because like it's like, okay, no, like this is just like a thin, you know, bit of storytelling to get to the sexy bit.
Be fair,
but there's not even
to be fair. In Knowledge or No Lady, it is played as like a daydream type thing. Like the character falls asleep next to one of them, and there is a daydream sequence or whatever, and that's it. And it's super mild. It's super mild, but it's yeah. Anyway, Superscout, it's a mess. That's been my week.
Speaking of daydream, Justin, I would like to talk about my night dream.
Okay.
In Julian's dream journal.
Okay.
It's back.
Sure.
I ran out of podcasts this week, and so I started to listen to a bunch of like different stuff, like basically downloading stuff from like shows where I'm not subscribed, but I'll download stuff from them sometimes. And so I got back into like a lot of my paranormal stuff. So I listened to a couple episodes of Astonishing Legends. And so I'm going to try to do a dramatic reading of this dream journal, like Forrest Burgess on Astonishing Legends. This is from August 13th. I was in a city I'd never been to. I parked my car and walked to this local indie game store. It was small, and I could tell it was new, but it had charm and a friendly staff. I bought Def Jam Fight for New York and told him I did this job for 8 years and I miss it. I walked back to my car, but I didn't see it. I walked a little further, thinking I misremembered where I parked. I tried my key fob and heard the beep. I rounded the corner and saw a guy and a girl in what used to be my car. It was missing its doors and most of the back end. When I hit the key fob again, the car stopped moving. The guy got out and started running, and the girl started taking stuff off the car. By the time I caught up to it, the car was totally stripped, and they were both long gone. I called the police, and 3 cops showed up. They weren't any help at all. The first thing they asked is if I called anyone else. I only called you, I said. Why didn't you notify someone else? I didn't know what to do, I said, realizing they weren't going to help. One of them asked what kind of car it was. I said it was a 2-door Accord, which I haven't driven since 2014. One of the cops said that's what I get for parking a car like that where I did.
The 2-door Accord really sought after by car thieves. Yes, that makes it.
It actually was.
Was it really?
Like
that's fun.
No, that model of Accord. It was the 2-door Accord from around like I think from like 2000 to 2004.
Okay. Was it like a popular tuner car?
Well, it was just a popular car.
Okay.
It's funny because I used to see those cars on the road all the time, and I don't see them anymore. It's like they vanished off the face of the earth.
You'll have that.
You know, I drove that thing into the ground because I was really bad about doing maintenance on my car back then.
That's the way to go.
And so, like, literally, like, I got like $300 in trade-in for it when because it just was not, it was no longer a workable car.
Right.
When I got my Kia.
Yeah.
And also in that time frame, in the 12 years that I owned it, the Accord went from being an affordable car to a luxury car.
Nice.
And so Kia kind of replaced what Honda used to be when I was growing up. So that's why I'm a Kia man now. Like, you know, as I am now having to entertain the possibility of buying a new car, I'm just looking for another Soul.
Yeah.
Like I'm just looking for a newer model of Soul.
That makes sense.
Because I love that car, and also they're affordable and
that's true.
Get the job done.
Yeah. They'll get you there. The rest is up to you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Julian, I have a surprise for you.
Oh, you're not gonna delve into that at all.
The dream. Done. Oh, you want me to like actually?
If you want.
I mean, okay, yeah. So let's see. You had a car, and you all right. In plain terms, explain it one more time to me, just real quick if you can. It was
went to an indie game store,
bought a game, fight for New York, Def Jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I can honestly tell you where that comes from because I just got a new used PS2.
Okay.
And
all right.
And what I played on it was Def Jam Vendetta, which I got my ass kicked, dude. Like I cannot play that game anymore. Like the CPU is just bonkers. But I've always wanted to own Fight for New York. I never have, and so I've been thinking about that because it's expensive.
Yeah.
And then went to go find my car. Found that it had been stolen,
right?
And by the time that I like caught up to the people that stole it, they'd stripped it completely.
And it was
parts. Like
it was a 24. You drove the car in 2014.
The last time that I drove it was 2014.
And it was a 2-door Accord.
Yeah, I owned it, so I got it in 2002.
Okay, this sounds to me like sort of a longing for simpler times, but somehow they were stolen from you.
Yeah, I can see that because there was also the video game store part of it.
Yes.
It's like when I was in there, I was like, this store is like, I could tell that like it's missing a lot of like fundamental things, but like I'm also like envious that they opened this new store,
right?
Because that's something that I was wanting to do, pre-pandemic.
Yes,
but I think also maybe there's also just like a practical worry about my current car.
That could be too. Yeah,
yeah.
These things could play.
I like. Yeah, I think yours is actually like very apt.
Yeah, I used to freak people out with some of the dream interpretations I would have for them. They'd be like, "Oh, wow, yeah, that's deeply personal and weird, but you're kind of right on the money." And I'd be like, sorry, I didn't mean to do it. But yeah, but anyway, Julian, I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
You brought a man on last time, and I'm gonna bring a man on this time.
Okay. You like to bring men on?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him on. Okay. I'm gonna leave though. It's not that I don't like him. They're cool, but I just brought them here specifically for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you'll enjoy them or not. We'll find out. It might be a complete disaster, and we'll never do it again. You never can tell.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? All right. Well, I'm leaving.
Okay.
I'll see you.
Well,
enjoy.
You go into the bathroom?
No.
Okay.
I'm just going to go over there and watch this happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, man. How you doing? You must be Julian. Yeah. What's up? What's up? Hey, my name's Martin van Buren. Like the president, but sexy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm an astrologist, man.
You're an astrologist?
Yeah. Astrology. Okay. That's what I do. Yeah. What's your sign, What you thinking? Which sign?
I'm a Pisces.
Oh, all right. All right, water sign.
I'm a sad boy.
All right, water sign. Well, let me tell you something about Pisces. Yeah, you're good with them Tauruses. You got some Virgos and Cancers. That's what you're looking out for there, Julian. All right.
I am always looking out for Cancer. I can tell you that.
Now listen, not that kind of Cancer. Okay. You don't? No. Oh, man. Pisces. Them fishes. Fishes are so delicious. Oh, boy. All right. You are imaginative and sensitive and compassionate and kind and selfless and unworldly and intuitive and sympathetic. So you remember that, all right?
Okay, most of those are true.
Yeah, all right. But, Julian, you gotta watch out, okay? All right, you're an escapist and idealistic, All right? And you're secretive and vague. All right? And you're weak-willed and you're easily led. So be careful of that stuff, okay? You know, I don't want you to fall in any weird traps, okay?
No, yeah, this all tracks.
Okay. All right. Well, you know.
I actually, I'm glad you're here.
Oh, great.
I actually have this this chain letter that I was supposed to give to 12 people.
Oh.
So
yeah.
I need to give one of these to you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Because if I don't give them to 12 people, like, bad things are going to happen to me. So you're doing me a solid.
Right. Well, you know, before I go, Julian, I'd like to give you your horoscope, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right. Pisces, today is your day to go for a walk in the park. All right? Just go out there, take a walk around, look around. You know, just drink it in, man. Just drink it in. This is a good day for it, all right? Now, you don't want to go to a store because you'll spend too much money. And the signs are there where you don't want to spend a lot of money today, okay? So avoid stores. But parks, go to one, okay? I'm telling you.
Okay.
Breathe it in, okay?
It's like 10 o'clock, so
well, tomorrow.
Oh, it still applies tomorrow?
Yeah, why not? It's got it's the stars, man. They're wild, you know.
Sure, no, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, well, I'm gonna hit the old dusty trail. You take it easy, Julian.
All right, you too, Martin van Buren. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm back now. Hi.
Hi.
Well, how did that go?
Let me do my best millennial cringe. So that happened.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I thought we should get some guidance from the stars, you know?
No, yeah, I think I can appreciate that once in a while.
Yeah, it's good, you know?
Yeah. No, so I don't believe in astrology
nor
shit,
do
but
I.
like it is kind of funny how much like the Pisces like thing applies to me in like fairly directly.
Yeah.
Like there's very few things that are ascribed to Pisces that don't apply to me.
My mother has one of the most interesting books I've ever read. Now, I'm with you. I 100% am like, this is the dumbest shit. But I find it entertaining on a purely entertainment level, right?
Yes.
But my mom has this one book that almost categorizes by day, like birthday, like, and it sometimes is eerie how fucking accurate it is.
Yeah.
Like, it almost pisses you off. But yeah, it's wild. But yeah, no, other than that, I take the Jim Morrison route of astrology is bullshit. What are you gonna do? But you know, Martin van Buren, he seemed like a cool guy, so you know, I brought him on. You know,
very very pleasant.
Yeah, yeah. He's very positive. He likes to tell you how good you're looking at all times. It's sometimes it's creepy, but that's his thing, you know.
Yeah. He is like the president, but sexy.
But sexy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The sexy president, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Time for the uncomfortable pivot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say,
okay,
we're about to thank our patrons, but don't fast forward yet. Okay, I know. There's plenty of people who they want to skip the thanking the patrons part, which is fine. I get it.
Okay,
but there is an important announcement that I have. If you were ever considering, or might consider in the future becoming a Patreon or a patron of ours or anyone.
Okay.
Patreon did a new thing, or they're about to do a new thing. I'm not sure when it actually goes into practice. It is very soon. If it hasn't happened already. If you are using the iOS app to join a Patreon, you are going to end up paying more than you should.
Oh.
Because Apple has like raised like the cut that they take or whatever, or I think whatever happened, like now, like they're entitled to a cut of like the Patreon, like anything that you sign up for through the app, they get a cut of that every month.
Oh, interesting.
And so the way that Patreon is circumventing that is that unless the creators go in and manually change it, the amount you just pay more.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I think it's like a 30% increase. So like, you know, I can't do math, but like our $5 tier would be 30% above that.
Okay. Yeah.
But you're not getting anything out of,
yeah.
You're not getting anything more for that. So the only thing is that if you are considering to join a Patreon of, you know, ours or anybody's, go to the website, join that way, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Then you can use the app to like do whatever.
I didn't even know
there. Sign up for a Patreon through the app.
I didn't even know Patreon had an app, if I'm being honest with you.
I think I knew that, but I don't use it. I just manage our stuff on the website.
Okay.
I handle my stuff.
Yeah, I always just went on like, you know, a browser and just got on it and did the thing there. So yeah,
which is why I end up like missing like a lot of like my Patreon posts for like the stuff that I follow because I don't.
I usually get the emails.
I get the emails, and then depending on if I care, then I'll actually go and look.
Me too. It's very convenient for Sims mods because they usually have the download right there for it. You're like, oh, thank God, I don't even gotta fucking go anywhere and sign into anything. This is great.
Yeah. But just keep that in mind.
Yes, that good to know. Yeah.
Yes.
The Stage Select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
But we should thank our lovely patrons. It's about that time of the show. We appreciate all of our lovely patrons, but every week we like to thank the executive producer tier. Also, real quick, if you're listening to this as it drops for patrons, you have, you know, a few more days to vote over at patreon.com for the next Suffer Select game. Currently, BioForge is kind of running away with it. Thank you. But, you know, there are only 8 people
apparently if you just
16.
say that you want to play a game, that people will play it. But if I say I want to play a game, then we will never play it. So I'm gonna remember that.
Justin will remember that.
Yeah, I
just appeared on the screen.
Absolutely. Fuckers. I mean, I didn't have really a horse in this race. I don't give a shit, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, but I was telling Justin before the show that like Game Grumps just put out a BB and Tina video, and I was like, oh man, what could have been?
Yeah. Assholes.
Yeah. Oh, the character art in that game is something, dude.
Yeah.
It sure does look like some sort of fundamentalist Christian comic book.
Yeah, it does. But no, Panda Hero or whatever.
All right. This week we have Big Baker.
We have Boogie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnov.
We have Dennis Robertson.
We have Eric Peacock.
We have Exrian.
We have Joel Thoman.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip P.K. Becker.
We have Stephen Lobo.
We have Xavier Krager.
Yes, thank you to our executive producers. We truly appreciate it. What you do.
You're all good at making snacks. Take it with you.
You sure are.
You know?
Yeah.
Just remember it. You know? You're my butterfly, sugar, baby. That's not the right button, but I stand by it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not changing it. I'm not gonna.
No, it's good. No. It's good. We'll yeah.
Today there are butterflies.
Yep.
Sugar
baby.
Sugar baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I measure time that way. How many sugar babies will it take me to get to the end of this podcast? Probably a lot. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. Not one of my favorite candies.
I forgot that was a candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were very bad. Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
What do you think is the worst candy?
I really hate black licorice.
Oh yeah, black licorice is terrible. It's so bad that I almost feel like it doesn't count.
Yeah. I guess because a lot of things constitute candy, right? So are we talking like chocolate bar? Are we talking like fruit candy? Are we talking?
Yeah, there's a lot of different categories, actually. Yeah, we'd have to break it down. This could be a whole podcast in itself.
I don't like saltwater taffy because of the way it gets stuck in my teeth.
Saltwater taffy is it's not my favorite either.
Yeah.
You just don't chew it.
Okay, yeah, just throw that.
Treat it like it's hard candy. Just sit there and, eventually nature will take its course, you leave it in your mouth long enough,
I feel like you're leaving that in your mouth for a really long ass time.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah. I don't really care for so much. That's a
no, yeah,
but yeah.
Man, some of the shit that we do to kids is borderline criminal. Like pixie sticks. It's like, no, just like mainline, like straight up sugar.
Yeah, why
right?
not?
Like just dump sugar straight down your gullet.
It's dope, but it's good.
It is dope.
Yeah, it's good.
It's actually it
really
actually
good.
is dope.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good.
I never had a chance. My body is just so like you give me sugar and I'm like that gif of the little girl with the cotton candy at the baseball game. Like that is me all the time.
I think the funniest thing that I look back on and think about from when I was a kid is I don't know if they still make these or not. I'm guessing they still make Tic Tacs, right?
Oh yeah. The Orange Overlord was just trying to use a like container of Tic Tacs to explain inflation the other day.
Okay. All right. Do they still make orange Tic Tacs?
I don't know.
Okay.
That might have been a limited thing.
It was. Oh, they made orange Tic Tacs for a long time.
Okay.
But at some point it was probably, like most people use them as a breath mint, but the orange Tic Tacs were fucking good. So what I would do is when I was a kid, I would take the whole fucking lid off and just fucking gulp them all down. They were meant to be taken one at a time as a breath mint. And I would.
Justin's breath was immaculate.
Oh, it was orangey as shit. But man, that and like Nerds, fuck it, whole thing down the gullet.
Oh yeah, no.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with Nerds.
Yeah. Absolutely. But man, I would buy like those like 4 packs of Tic Tacs where they were, meant to last you a while, and my mom knew what was going to happen. I was just going to eat the whole fucking thing in just one gulp. Just fuck it. You can't stop me. Those were good. I miss them.
Someone's looking up like, what the effects of on having that many Tic Tacs right now. They're like, Justin, you have turbo cancer.
That's fine. I'm good with it. It was worth it. You know what? It was worth it. I hope so.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking up. Now I need to know if they still make orange Tic Tacs. Do they? It's not a podcast unless we Google something. Still make orange Tic Tacs. Yeah, there we go.
What does the Google AI tell you?
Oh, they still do. You can buy a whole fucking pack of them shits for $15.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, like one that you would sell in a store.
No, yeah, that is one of the secret things that I like about buying stuff on Amazon is that you can get like basically the store display of certain
great.
foods.
This is my favorite part. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I could have. Oh, this is good. Oh man, I might need to get some more Tic Tacs.
I think between last season and this season of No One Can Know About This, they mailed out this candy bar to like the $10 tier of patrons.
Okay.
It was because it was something that Ryan was going off about. It's like this I forget what it's called.
Okay.
But it's this candy bar that's like, it's basically just like, it's like a hunk of marshmallow, like coated in chocolate.
Okay.
It's really good.
All right.
Because he was like, you got to freeze them, put them in the freezer and then have it. And I had that. I was like, fucking A, that was really good.
Okay.
And so then I found a case on Amazon and I bought that. I put that whole thing in my freezer and ate those over the course of like a few months.
All right.
But yeah, it was just kind of funny. It's like, this is like a thing that you would like, just like, this is how you get it at like, because I worked at a supermarket, right? This is how you would put this out like
absolutely.
On the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, speaking of turbo cancer,
Okay.
The Borderlands movie, Justin.
Oh, right. That came out. Yeah.
I saw it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I saw it for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
One is because I had seen the trailers and I was like, that looks all right. Like,
okay.
I see things here that that entertain me. And the other was that it got so raked over the coals, like, you know, at a certain point, like before like opening weekend, it had like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I was like, there's no way that this movie is that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's not. It's just not.
Okay.
It's not a good movie.
Okay.
But it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not even the worst video game movie that I've seen.
It's not ooey bowl level terrible, right? No,
it like I think Resident Evil 2 and Tomb Raider 2 and there was one other one that I was thinking of that was like just a god awful video game movie. I think those are far worse than this. And then, and obviously the ooey bowl stuff is
but at the same time, ooey bowl stuff is so bad that it comes around and is good again because it's it has that that quality.
Yeah, because I would say Resident Evil 2 is just
that was
terrible.
And it's like so Monster Hunter. That might.
I haven't seen Monster Hunter.
I bet it's not good.
Maybe. What I saw of Monster Hunter seemed really like I liked it. I was like, that's an interesting take of like, you know, doing like an isekai with it. But you know, one of these days I'll probably get around to watching it. I wish that I could think of what the other like video game movie I was thinking of that was just like
really bad,
a fucking train wreck
Mortal Kombat Annihilation maybe. That one was pretty bad.
That's up there.
Yeah. Although that one is
Johnny Cage in the first 2 minutes of the movie.
I know. Yeah. I mean, at the same time, that's another one that comes back around and is so bad that
that
one
is campy enough that so that's the thing, right? Like, I think so let me like talk about the good stuff about Borderlands. There was stuff in here that I liked. It is the most accurate to the source material video game movie I think that I've ever seen.
All right.
Outside of like the Super Mario Brothers movie from last year, or like how, you know, when you see like in the Sonic movies, like when they show him in his home world, like that stuff is like 1-to-1.
Yeah.
But as far as like a 100% live action video game movie, right? Like I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, like those guns look like guns I recognize from the game. Okay. Like the environment looks like Pandora. You know, like the shops and everything, like everything about it, like really looks like the video game and it feels like the video game. And I liked Jack Black as Claptrap. You know, I know Claptrap is like a pretty divisive character to begin with, and Jack Black is a divisive actor to begin with. Sure. But I think he's actually a pretty good, like that was a pretty good casting for that character. And I think a good like 65% of his stuff lands. You know, there's parts where it's just like, well, that just wasn't funny, or what have you. I actually liked Kevin Hart playing Roland, the soldier. A lot of people were like, why did you get Kevin Hart? Like that's a serious character, and it's like, yeah, he's serious in the movie too. Like they don't play that character in the movie as a jokey character. I just like the idea of like this short king being like the action star of the movie. I think that's kind of neat. And, you know, there's some pretty decent action scenes and what have you. I think where a big part of where it stumbles, I think, is that it's a PG-13 movie.
All right.
And it's an M-rated game. And this was written and directed by Eli Roth. And it feels neutered.
That's such a weird,
Yeah, you know, partway through, I was like, this movie needs to be like gory,
right?
And like I need to see like some of these enemies getting jibbed, like, you know, from some of the weapons and stuff like that. And it's a very clean movie, and I say that across the board. Like the characters don't get fucked up like through the course of the movie, even though it's like a fairly fast paced movie that takes place over a very short span of time. But they're just coming out of like every encounter completely unscathed. Like nobody's got like bruises or cuts or anything by the end. Their costumes aren't getting like torn up and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was intentional to be like, well, they're video game characters. So like, you know, video game characters don't get fucked up.
Right.
Because you heal or whatever. But like, you know, even Batman in the Arkham games, like his costume's all messed up by the end of each of those games. Right. Like Lara Croft in like the Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider games always gets scarred and you know, dirty and stuff like that through the course of the adventures. So there's that. I think the actress who plays Tiny Tina is terrible.
Okay.
I haven't seen a lot of Tiny Tina in the games. What I've seen of her, I've actually liked just fine.
Yeah.
I don't find her as annoying as I think a lot of people do, but I also have only had small doses of her.
Yeah. I think that might be part of it, but I know about as much as you do on that route. So yeah.
Yeah. But having said that, I just think that the actress portraying her just didn't do a good job as that character.
Yeah. And
then you have the guy, I think he's a Borderlands 2 character. He's just your big bruiser. He's wearing one of the psycho masks, like the main like cover, psycho guy.
Gotcha.
And I think they're just playing like actual audio clips from the character in the game as his dialogue.
Oh.
Which is a choice.
That's a choice. That's something.
And it makes that character that's already like not much of a character even less of a character.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was like a really bad idea.
Yeah.
But I think the crux of it, and this is what I find funny, because people seemed indignant about this movie.
Okay.
And part of that seemed like because it was somehow like doing this like disservice to Borderlands, the game franchise, and also like they're saying like, oh, it's the end of Borderlands, like it's killed Borderlands, blah blah blah, and it's like, guys, Borderlands it's not a good story. It doesn't have good characters.
never did.
Like,
yeah.
You like Borderlands because it's got cool loot and it's got good first person like RPG gameplay.
It was such a terrible choice for a movie from the time it got announced. It's like, why would you make that a movie?
And look, I'm not saying, I'm sure there's people out there who are really into the lore.
Oh yeah, there
if
surely
you're into
is. There surely
that's
are.
Fine.
Yeah.
That I don't perceive that is the like reason that this series has done as well as it has.
No.
Now, I know that like Tales from the Borderlands, that Telltale game, apparently does a lot of heavy lifting.
Even that, it's not even so much the lore. It's just like it's kind of just a dumb fun world, and like the Tales from the Borderlands thing kind of like takes advantage of that. Like it's just like, this is the world we built, and everybody's kind of just their own stupid thing. That's really it. And
I also think that a lot of people talking about this movie online, they didn't see it. They're just like piling on.
Yeah.
Because again, I
have not seen it, so yeah,
I've seen far worse. Like you listening to this have seen far worse.
I'm sure.
But I think that people need to have like a really long heart to heart with themselves about.
If that's what they're upset about, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, think about what Borderlands is and what you really derived enjoyment out of it. And I bet it's game mechanics based.
Yeah.
Right? Because so I watched the IGN video review of it, and I thought like one of the first things that he complained about was, oh, it's just this linear like story where it doesn't like invoke any of the like, fun of the exploration of Borderlands. And it's like, well, fucking duh, dude. It's a 2-hour movie. Do you really want these characters running hither and yon, like opening loot boxes?
Yeah.
Like, no.
That would be,
like, what?
That would be worse than probably what it is. Yeah, no, it was not a game that was ever designed to be a movie ever.
No.
But they did it anyway. I mean,
they did. And his other thing was he was complaining about like how bland like the environment was. And I'm like, Pandora is like this barren, like Mad Max looking wasteland. Like they nailed it.
That's it.
Like honestly, like visually, I think the movie's kind of amazing. Like it looks like the video game minus the cell shading, and even then, when like Gina Gershon's Mad Moxie shows up, she like the way they did her makeup, she's kind of cell shaded.
Okay.
And Gina Gershon is a really good Mad Moxie.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, like, that she like. Time has been very good to her because I haven't seen her since Bound, and that was like, a year or two after Showgirls.
Okay,
so like it's been a while. Again, not a good movie.
No,
don't recommend it.
I almost feel like if I seen it, it would be the most mid thing ever. I hate to use the term mid, but it
is extremely mid.
Yeah, and somehow that's worse than being just flat out bad to me.
Yeah, in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like that wrestling thing, right? Like the worst thing that a wrestler can have is people not reacting.
No reaction. Yes, it's almost like that. Where you almost want it to be so bad, where it's like where like it comes the ooey bowl spectrum, where it's like it's so bad that it somehow comes around the other side and you find some enjoyment out of it. And maybe this is that way, and I don't, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Maybe I would have a different opinion of being like, oh God, this is just, I feel that way a lot about the Borderlands series though, when like I played 3 and I was like, I need to turn all the dialogue and sound off in this game because I can't stand anything in it.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm getting at.
I know.
It was true to the source material. Like, and if you feel that like the movie's terrible, it's like, well,
the source
I think
material was
about the game as well.
Pretty bad. It was a bad idea from the start. Like it was such a bad idea from the start.
When you don't have your hand on the controller and you're not getting like, a nice legendary gun drop.
Then
it takes a lot of the joy
whole
away.
thing of the game. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And shooting the guns and seeing what they do and finding your kind of rhythm and finding your favorite gun or whatever and all this stuff. And that's that game, but there's no way you can do that in a movie. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but I think for me, it really like, is another example of what I've been on about lately, which is just this like this binary way of talking about things, on the internet.
It's very hyperbolic.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of my thing. It's like, like you can have some nuance with these takes.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that like, I didn't leave the theater like angry or anything like that. It's like, oh, I just wasted my time and my money. I was like, that was
it was something to do.
I got out of the house. Like, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
It was fine. I got to see some movie trailers beforehand.
At least you didn't walk out of the movie or anything. Like, I mean,
I've never walked out of
I've walked out of a movie before. One movie. And you know what? It was a video game movie. It was Resident Evil Apocalypse. Like, I think the third one or whatever.
Is that the one in the desert?
Yes.
See, I like
that. Oh, that
one.
one was fucking terrible, man. Oh God. I got to a certain point. I was just like, we need to go. I think I was with my mom and a guy she was dating at the time. And we all three went in there and we were just like, this will be something to do, why not? And they didn't know anything about Resident Evil. I did. And I'm sitting there watching it and I'm just going, oh, this is so bad. And they're just like, they don't know. They're equally on the same page. And we're all just like, we should go, shouldn't we? And we did. And we left. It was that bad.
I loved 1. I hate 2. 3, I liked because so 3 is not a Resident Evil story.
No.
But I liked the idea of like, oh, they straight up lost. Like the world has ended. And so now it's like, how are people trying to survive in what's left?
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting take. And I also really liked the zombie makeup in 3 because the zombies in 2 looked god awful.
I keep thinking they introduce was Claire Redfield in that one?
I've only seen it once.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I don't think so. I think 4 is when they started to bring in a lot of the video game characters and they started to act like, well, you know who these people are. And it's like,
I feel like 3 did it.
Claire might be in it.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly from 4 is where they started to have like the characters showing up and looking fairly accurate to the games, but not explaining who they are to the audience. And it's like, I know who Chris Redfield is and why Wesker doesn't like him, but no one who's watched the rest of these movies has any goddamn idea like why I should care or why they should care.
Yeah.
And so I like 1 and 3, and then the rest of them can.
Yeah,
I just hate
I keep thinking there's a part in that one where basically Claire shows up. Because I remember that was the moment where I was like, we need to leave right now. I can't.
Sure.
Because she showed up and introduces herself as my name is Claire Redfield. And I was like, oh God, we gotta go. They're just,
I think you might be right. Because, they didn't have Chris in the previous movies.
I didn't even know that because I skipped 2. I'm like, I thought 1 was fine. I remember being like, the laser scene is iconic, and that's like not even a Resident Evil thing.
Dude, she runs against that wall and then like does this backspring like jump kick on that zombie dog. It's fucking sweet.
It was an okay movie. It was fine.
Yeah.
I remember not being like blown away or anything, but it was what it was, you know.
Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez is badass.
Yeah, she's in it.
Like,
yeah,
there's really good stuff.
I forgot she was in that one. Yeah, she super is. Yeah.
It feels like that could be the thing that kicks off the actual first game,
right?
Like there's a version of that movie where where that's almost like all the precursor stuff that happens right before Stars shows up,
right?
And I kind of dug it for that, but and then
no, they didn't. Oh,
and I'm also that nerd who like read the novels. So there was a time when I was super into Resident Evil lore, and the story, and then at a certain point after 4 is when I really fell off of like, you know, trying to really pay attention to the stories and stuff like that. That's also kind of when I stopped playing the game.
You weren't have you ever watched when they brought it back, like kind of recently, Resident Evil? Remember they made that one movie where
I missed that one. Because that one I heard was supposed to be like surprisingly accurate to the game.
Yeah,
I also heard it was terrible.
That's what I also heard too. So I was wondering if that was on the same level as maybe this was.
Because I would like a movie that actually follows the beats of like those first 3 games fairly closely. Taking liberties.
You could do it. I feel like you would maybe have to split it up a little bit, for sure. I feel like the mansion arc is probably good enough for 1, and then you could probably do just a raccoon.
You do 2 and 3 as like a back-to-back shooting, and have it be like, you know, Matrix 2 and 3 or Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3 or Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Either that or you just have it kind of swap back and forth between the characters or what or this, and just have it happen at the same time. I'm not even sure. You can fuck with the timeline. It'd be fine. I'm always trying to think of what would, if you were gonna make a video game movie, what would the franchise be that you would want to actually make a movie from?
Mass Effect.
Yeah. I don't know though. I don't know if that would be all that great.
I just love the Mass Effect universe.
No, I get it.
So let me, and we've talked about this. I don't want a retelling of Shepard's story. I just want a really cool story that is set in the Mass Effect world. That's a movie.
You want a Star Trek movie, but it's Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Because there's supposed to be that TV series that Amazon's working on. I don't know if that's still coming out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because Amazon's got a bunch of video game shit in the works, and the only stuff that's come out has been Last of Us and wait, was that? Yeah, that was Amazon.
That was HBO.
Oh, that was HBO. Yeah. What did Amazon have? They had Fallout.
Recently, Fallout. Yeah, Fallout was the big one for them.
Oh, and Twisted Metal was that.
That was Sony.
Oh. I thought Amazon... Okay. No, they had some book stuff. That's what it was. But anyway, and I had said that, like, I wouldn't want a TV show that is just telling the story of Shepard and the Reapers and all that stuff. And I know that's... I know that's, that's bound to happen.
Probably. Yeah.
But I just think it's a real, like, I have actually been surprised that EA has not mined Mass Effect far more than it has, because that is a franchise where you could make just about any type of game out of it.
Man, it's okay. It's funny you mentioned that.
It's such a rich universe.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking about this recently, and I was trying to think of a weird. I kind of thought of a weird thing to do with the Mass Effect universe, because I was thinking about the first 3. I don't know why I was thinking about it. I just kind of just popped into my brain.
Yeah, that's how our brains work.
But then I started thinking about the Knights of the Old Republic, or it was just called the Old Republic, the MMO that came out and like kind of, didn't.
I played a good chunk of that.
Yeah. It seemed neat, but you know, it was like, well, that scared them off of MMOs. They never really went back to that because like it didn't, I don't think it did super great.
It did.
I'm sure it did fine.
But they spent an ungodly amount of money making that game because they voiced every single piece of dialogue in that MMO, which
so they might not have gotten their investment back or whatever.
Yeah, I think once it went free to play, it actually made them a good chunk of change, and it is still running.
Oh,
so.
Well, there you go. That's all right.
Yeah,
that's I'm actually kind of surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering I wouldn't want an MMO of Mass Effect is what I'm not saying that.
No.
And
I would play an MMO of Mass Effect if they made it.
I came up with a different idea and it was weird, but I was like, it could work because I always said that Mass Effect's biggest problem was it was a trilogy. They didn't really have enough time to sew up certain things. It was almost made to be like a Star Trek where it just kept going and going and going, and you had different shit pop up all over the universe, and you're like the space police or whatever the fuck, and it would have been cool.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake that trilogy makes is in the first game where you become the special. Once you are the person who has the information of the Prothean beacon, that then extends out into this weird like space Jesus thing where it's like being the first human Spectre was already special enough. Like you could have just kept it at that, and I would have been totally happy.
Right? Yes, they go nuts with that whole thing,
and then after the first game, like it doesn't even matter that you're a Spectre anymore, and then they're just handing out Spectre status to people like
yeah, right. Well, but you could still kind of do that with this idea that I had, because I was thinking of like, well, if you wanted to make it like truly like an episodic thing that just kept going, and you were kind of the space police, and things had threads, and they would continue on. I wouldn't want to do like an MMO, but I would want to do almost a single player version of it, where like the content just kept coming out, but it was kind of the same game that got. It was almost be like a massive single player online RPG or whatever. Like you had to be on the internet, and all your decisions would keep rolling over. But like, like a Phantasy Star Online or a Destiny, but you're not actually Destiny
doing multiplayer shit with it.
You could, if you wanted to do that, if you really wanted to throw something like that in there, you probably could, but you would have to make it to where it was like almost like, these people are just on your team now and they're coming to help you on this mission, but you're doing all the talking. They're just there. They're, you're hanging out and doing stuff, but they have no effect on the story. It's your story. And you could do multiplayer like that, I don't know. I was thinking about that. I was like, I feel like that could work.
Oh yeah. There's so many things you could do, Me and Rob, former co-host and founder of Nerds Without Pants, like we always fantasized about a first-person shooter that tells the story of the First Contact War.
That'd be cool
with the Turians, right? And like having that moment where like you're like the first human to see someone use biotics,
right? And
be like, what the these aliens can move shit with their mind.
Right.
Like what are we doing? Like there's some cool shit that you could do with that.
For sure.
Right? I've always wanted a stealth action game starring Kasumi.
Yeah.
Like I love her loyalty mission in Mass Effect 2. Like it turns into like a James Bond movie for a little bit. It's really fun. I would play a turn-based strategy game. I would play there's like a sim.
There's a ton of stuff you could do, but I feel like that the single player online thing. I don't know why. That's where I would have went with it. Like instead of trying, but everybody was trying to make a trilogy. That was the time where you just had to make everything was a trilogy.
Well, but I feel that Mass Effect did it the best because like those choices really do.
They did.
Like
that was a big part of the game.
Character feel so personal to every player, and
I agree.
That's awesome. Like because they couldn't replicate it with the Dragon Age games because those games were so disjointed.
Yes.
Also because they came out for like different systems and stuff like that.
No, absolutely. It gets tough like that, and that's why like if you make it the MMO format that keeps going, you can kind of there's probably a way to do like the your choices matter type of thing. Although it might not be like as immersive, I guess, as just roll the save over. Because Dragon Age does it a little bit where they're like, I think there's like a separate part on like the menu in like Inquisition where it's basically like a world builder mode, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there was also, I don't know if it's still around, but there was a website.
There was a website.
Dragon Age,
yes.
Actually, was that 2? I think for 2, because for some reason they couldn't figure out how to make your save import from Origins into 2, but there was the website where you could kind of like basically create. You would say like what you actually did
and what happened. Yes.
Yeah. But for Dragon Age 2, that really just meant like, hey, you might find drunk Alistair in a bar.
Right. Yeah. Point. Exactly. Yeah. and yeah, even like Mass Effect. There's so many like little things that can happen, especially like in the third game, like where it feels like it's going nuts trying to calculate what the hell you did over the course of saves and stuff like that.
Oh, man, and I know, we've talked about it all the time, but I think the biggest problem for me with Mass Effect 3 is that it's not brave enough to lock you out of shit because of previous decisions.
No, 100%. That's the biggest problem with that game. Yeah, absolutely.
Like no matter what you've done in the past, like you're still going to recruit all of these people just for different reasons, and you might be interacting with a generic character because someone's dead, but it's like no, but what if you fucked up so badly in the previous games that like you don't get the Krogans to join and you don't get the Turians to join, and it's a bad end, and it's like. Well, that's unsatisfying. It's like, well, you should have made better choices. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
play through the games again. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and now imagine that whole concept right there, where all your choices are fucking leading up to these big moments in something that was just like the same game and kept going. And then I fucked up. Now what? But the new game button's right there if you want. You can just start all the way over and just keep going. It would take a lot, but at the same time, we have this whole cloud bullshit people keep fucking saying, so why not do that with it?
Yeah.
Dipshits.
I'd play a Telltale style game with
that'd be fun.
Universe.
Yeah, that'd be good. Hell, most of
breaking.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. You go ahead. I was cutting. I was done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I thought you were, and that's why I was gonna break in with this breaking news. I put out a little poll over on our Discord asking people what their favorite character is so far on the show. And we have a tie with 2 votes each.
Okay.
Jacob Washington.
Okay.
And Spence Sterling from Big Dumb Quiz.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Upset with those results? Get on the Discord.
Yeah.
It's fun. Interact. You can do stuff and talk to people.
Yeah.
It's nice. I did forget to put the birthday robot on there.
Oh, that's fine.
So I felt
he's a robot. He's not really a character.
True, and I specifically didn't put Sherwin Williams because he's a real ass man.
Yeah, he's real as shit. Yeah.
I thought Abrama was going to go like walk away with it, and I was kind of surprised that he didn't.
No, yeah, people don't like him that much.
I love Abrama.
I think so too. He doesn't care. I promise.
No,
he's not in it for that. He's not. He doesn't actually even know he's in a thing. He just shows up and does his job. So
yeah, I mean, I could tell him about the results and he'd forget about it by next week.
He wouldn't even know why there's results because he doesn't know he's a character in anything, Julian.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's if we're breaking kayfabe, then yeah. But
no, why would he? He doesn't know. He shows up. He does his job. He doesn't know why there's a poll.
Right.
Yeah. He barely even knows there's a show. That's what I mean.
No, I know. No, yeah. He shows up, he cleans the bathrooms, he
goes home.
He straightens up around
he buys a switchblade or whatever, and that's it.
And then he walks home.
He walks home. It's good.
So I did play some more stuff.
Okay, cool.
I finally, after like probably 4 or 5 attempts, have gotten deep into Darksiders.
Okay, cool.
And Justin, I could have sworn that at one point I had put like a good 10 hours into this game.
Mm-hmm.
I never got more than an hour into it.
Oh boy.
Because it was very shortly after last episode where I was like, I have no memory of this place.
Yeah.
I had not seen shit
Okay.
in this game. And now that I'm playing it, I do understand why. Because fundamentally, everything about this game is 100% my jam.
Yeah. Okay,
so for people who don't know, Darksiders is like an action RPG that's very Zelda-inspired. It's a post-apocalypse story that centers around like War of the Four Horsemen
of the Apocalypse. Yes.
Yeah. And the setup is that he answers the call for the apocalypse, and like there's demons and angels all over the place that are wreaking havoc, but it turns out that no call was given. And so he's imprisoned for a really long time and stripped of his powers by the council. And when he's finally let out, his goal is to find out what happened. Like, so, he answered a call that apparently did not exist. And none of the other horsemen showed up. And he basically, he destroyed the world prematurely because like it was like a false start for the apocalypse or for Armageddon. And he's trying to figure out why. The character designs are done by Joe Madureira, who I would refer to as Joe Mad from this point out because I'm terrible at pronouncing his name. He is one of my favorite comic book artists of all time. He had a legendary run on an Uncanny X-Men that's some of my favorite Uncanny X-Men stuff, period. His big thing was Age of Apocalypse. So he did like all of those like alternate reality designs that people still, well, they're kind of divisive, but I always loved them. He had a very like kind of manga inspired art, which at the time he was like the first person to do that in Marvel Comics. But the thing is, he always wanted to do video games, and he was very upfront about that even back when he was doing comics. And so like he did the character designs for Fighting Force.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, not Fighting Force. No, that was Mark Silvestri.
No.
It was that game. It's got a red head on the cover. I think it starts with a G. It's a beat 'em up. It's not good. It's a PS1 game. Okay. But he did that.
I think I know which one you're talking about, but I cannot remember the fucking name of that for the life of me.
Yeah. I want to say it's like Genki or something like that, but I don't think that's right.
You're in the ballpark though.
If you look up Joe Mad PlayStation 1,
I'm on it. I'm really, you got me now.
And he did like a bunch of covers for magazines. I think he did covers for like Die Hard Game Fan and PSM and stuff like that. Always wanted to do games. So this was his big game that he worked on. And character design wise, right? Like I love his big chunky designs. It's a very Blizzard-esque style, but at the time it was new. Now it feels very derivative. I will say that, but I still really love it. And yeah, so it's like a Zelda game, but with like really good character action and some slight RPG mechanics and, like a lot of abilities and items to get and stuff like that. But I think the reason why I bounced off of it at the time is because, I think this came out originally in 2010. And so I still would have been like, kind of fatigued from like God of War and like games of that ilk. There are a lot of these at the time. Yeah. The Onimusha series and stuff like that. The types of games where, like souls comes out of these enemies and you absorb them into your thing, and that's how you buy stuff. Right. And, hold down the attack button to launch an enemy into the air and then follow them into the air, which is, that's my shit. Yeah, right?
Very much so. Yes.
I want to hold down the attack button to launch an enemy into the air and then continue to hold it to follow them and then do an air combo. That's my jam. Yes. But there was a while there where I had played a lot of that, and I think that's why
it was a little late to the dance on that stuff. Things had kind of run their course, like with that genre, and I do remember that a little bit. If I remember correctly, the one people mostly look fondly at is 2. Am I wrong there? Maybe. I keep thinking 2 has has some weird ideas or something but it's very buggy and unfinished or something. I keep thinking that's the deal.
I find this series interesting because the games are all in different genres. Yeah. So 1 is very much like an action like an action adventure game a la Zelda. 2 is a loot-based RPG a la Diablo, but it's third person. Right. So like I know the loot is like a big part of that game, and so I'm interested in playing that.
Yeah.
So you play Death in that.
Okay.
One. 3, I want to
that
say...
That one was more recent. That one was the THQ Nordic one, and it's kind of
I want to say it's a little soulsy as far as like I think the
a little
difficulty
bit.
is supposed to be higher.
It's supposed to be hard, and I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know I've watched somebody play that at some point, and not very much of it. It didn't seem like it really was lighting the world on fire or anything like that.
No, I heard it was good.
Yeah,
like
I heard it was fine.
Game, but
yeah.
And then the fourth one, Genesis, is like an isometric, like almost like a twin joystick shooter, like with some Diablo overtones to it, but you're using guns.
Oh, right. It's not numbered. It's like a spin-off game or whatever, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the fourth one because
I don't think it's Darksiders 4. They'd number it as that, but I think it's like a...
Well, but I think you might be the fourth horseman in that.
You might be. I don't know.
I'm not sure though. You might be War again.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm not
remember.
100% sure. I do remember that game coming out now that you mention it, though. By the way, before...
That was a pandemic game. That was the thing about that one, is that it came out like in a kind of a weird time.
By the way, Gekido, what was the game?
I was close.
Yeah, I knew. As soon as you said it, I was like, you're in the ballpark. I know you are.
Yeah.
Gekido Urban Fighters was the game. It's just Gekido. It says a lot of stuff on the fucking cover, but yeah, it had the guy with red hair. There's a blonde girl with a beret, and another guy.
Yeah,
but they look cool.
Yeah, like I've always loved his designs, right? Like, so his own comic was Battle Chasers, which was a cool comic that he never finished, and it pisses me off to this day because he didn't do very many issues, and he keeps saying he's going to finish it. He's never going to finish it. There is an RPG that they made based on Battle Chasers that I own but haven't played yet. But anyway, years later, now that these games are not really in vogue anymore, I'm in.
Okay, cool.
Like, I'm really enjoying Darksiders. Cool. I think it's one of those things where it's a real refreshing game in this day and age because it's like, yo, that HUD's really it's stylish as fuck. Like, one of the things that I really hate about like From games is that they popularize this like, you just need like a plain ass bar. Like, it's these 3 bars that they're just colored. Like, we didn't put any artistic flair on them at all. Like, that I never talked about, but like that was the thing I really hate about Control is that like it was just like you have this like white life bar that doesn't even it's just
minimal. The minimalistic HUD has been a big thing as of late, you know.
If you want to go that minimalist, then just don't do a HUD.
That's tough.
You could get away with in Control of like, because I think in that game like her health regenerates, so you could just do the Call of Duty thing where like you know the screen gets fucked up and then whatever. Because I know that like I think the way that it shows, because it didn't have like an ammo counter, it was just like a bar above like your reticle that told you like how many more shots you had.
I remember, so I think
they kept it pretty minimal anyway. But I like a really flourishy HUD for these types of games. It doesn't work for everything. But then also, it's this like dark, you know, fantasy type thing. But this is like before, you know, again, From took over the world and made things as like dark and bleak as possible. Because even though like you're dealing with like demons and undead and shit like that, you know, it's got this really cool, like colorful look to it. And it you know, a lot of the game feels like it could be ripped off of like an 80s metal album cover. Yeah. You know, it's got a lot in common with like Brutal Legend, which is another games that I love the aesthetic of. And it just really works for me. Yeah. And the gameplay, like the combat gets a lot more fun as you get more moves and get deeper into the game and you know, gain more abilities. It does have a really odd difficulty.
Interesting.
Because it's kind of a cakewalk most of the time.
Until it's
except when it's not. And usually when it's not, it's because it's like, whoa, that attack just took off half of my health.
Oh, good.
And you have multiple health bars that you get over time. Like I've got 4 right now. But even so, it's like sometimes like you'll just go from full health to like almost dead in like split second. It's like, what just happened? And it was extra annoying just recently. I was in a part with, I was fighting a bunch of angels, and they've just got guns.
Why wouldn't they?
And I've got sword, so I don't have gun, Justin. And they're just shooting me with gun.
That sounds like your problem.
It was, actually. It turns out that actually there is an angel where they drop a gun and you're supposed to pick that up and use that from a distance.
I got you.
But I died like about 5 or 6 times before I finally like looked up a playthrough. Like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. But the thing is, they would do so much damage and they just swarm you. There's like so many of them on the screen at any given time, and they're like shooting you from off screen, or like some of them do have melee, but they'll just like swipe in because they can fucking fly.
Why not?
So that was just like extremely frustrating. But overall, like I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm about halfway through it now, based on like kind of where I am on the map and stuff like that. It does have like Zelda-y puzzles. The dungeons are actually pretty ridiculously long, but the puzzles are they're in that sweet spot of being just challenging enough to make you think, but not so much that you feel like an idiot.
Okay.
There's been a couple, but that was actually more of just because I was like, I didn't think the physics of the game would work like that.
Oh, so, God. Yeah.
You know, it was that type of thing. But
that's good.
Yeah. I really, and you know, so the funny thing is that apparently THQ Nordic just had like an event like about a week ago.
Okay.
Where they announced a whole bunch of games or also had trailers for stuff that had already been announced. And one of the things was a new Darksiders that they announced. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a full-on Darksiders 4 or if it's a reboot or whatnot. But I feel that it must have been on purpose that they, you know, dropped like this collection of the first 2 games for like $6 on a sale.
Yeah.
And I thought that's very smart on a publisher's, you know, side where it's like, yo, we're going to announce this new game. So we're going to let you buy the first 2 dirt cheap right now. And cause like, so now it's like, okay, yeah, like I am now open to picking up like a new Darksiders when it comes out, because I mean, I actually do want to play the second one eventually. I really need to play some more new games. So once I finish this, I'm getting back on that. But this has been a nice palate cleanser.
Yeah. That works.
So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that's Darksiders. I'm hoping that I'll finish it by next episode, but I think this weekend I need to get on my Persona 3 stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I'm going to be on another episode of of Games My Mom Found, so I need to start cracking into that game. We're going to be doing Onimusha 3.
Nice.
So, I need to start on that, because that one is quite a bit longer than the previous 2 games. It's like I looked on how long to beat. It's like a good 15-hour game, where the previous games you could finish in like 5
they're pretty short. Yeah.
But I don't have much to say about this, but I checked out the demo for Visions of Mana.
Okay.
The demo came out a couple of weeks ago, and you know so I think people kind of forget, and it's, you know, it's Square Enix's fault, but Square Enix has put out a fuck ton of games in the last few years of varying quality, and kind of just pushed them out to die and not really marketed
pretty
them.
much, yeah.
And so my main thing, so when I saw the trailer for Visions of Mana, I was like, that looks really good. And my main thing for the demo was I wanted to see is this one of the better Square Enix games, or is this in that weird, like, mediocre middle tier of like Valkyrie Elysium?
That was the exact one I was thinking of. Yeah.
And I can definitely say that it seems like a solid game.
Cool.
I did not play much of the demo because I think it's a terrible demo.
Great.
It reminds me a lot of the demo for Tales of Arise, which is, yo, we've got a ton of mechanics in this game, and we're just going to throw you into it. Have fun.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'm like, but I would really rather have like a nice ramp up of these mechanics instead of you just, you know, laying them all on me.
They try to show you the entire game or whatever, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's, you know, I know it's a weird thing, right? I think gamers in general are pretty difficult to please because I'm definitely on record as saying like, like ask me if I've played a video game before and like maybe like hold back on some of these like tutorials and stuff like that. But if a game is like, has like a lot of unique mechanics like to that game and a lot of systems on top of systems, which certain Square Enix RPGs can be, that was actually my problem with a fair bit of like their PS1 games. Is like I remember Vagrant Story being the one where I was
Vagrant Story.
There's too much going on in the gameplay of this. Yeah. And a lot of their games of that era were like that. And sometimes they can still be that. Visions of Mana feels that way, where there's like a whole bunch of stuff they're throwing at you all at once. And like you've got a full party and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's just a lot. And I'm sure once you get to that point in the game, it's totally fine. I think it's fun enough to play. I think it looks really nice. Okay. I thought the characters seemed pretty fun. You have a Flammy, like a little Flammy with you. Like it's not big Flammy. It's just like this little Flammy that's, kind of flying around with you. And I'm like, oh, that's neat. That's cute. I'm not a huge Mana fan. I basically only played the first 2 games, meaning I played Final Fantasy Adventure on the Game Boy and I played Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo. And that's about it. I bought Legend of Mana and did not like it. And then I played a GBA game that I thought was a new Mana game, but it was actually just a remake of Final Fantasy Adventure.
Yeah, they recently brought back the one that everybody really wanted to play, didn't they?
Yes, they finally released both the original version and the remake of Trials of Mana, which is what they decided to call the third game, Seiken Densetsu 3.
Yes, that was the one,
Yeah. And eventually, I do want to play that. I have both. I have the Switch version of the original game, and I have the remake on PlayStation 4. I think I
have it too, but I can't remember now that I think about it.
Yeah. But I'm not the biggest Mana fan, but if it's good, I might play it. It's probably not something that I would be getting around to this year because I think it is coming out soon.
Oh yeah. It is. So it's like a party based RPG then.
I mean, it's very much like the old games where it is an action RPG.
Okay.
You have the computer controlling the other party members. I don't know that you have any input that you can give to them.
Okay.
I'm not even sure if you can give them like either commands or AI behaviors, but they're kind of doing their thing. I'm sure there's some sort of like double team tech or something like that in there. I didn't see that in the brief time that I played it. But it's got a lot of the hallmarks of the Mana series. Like it's got like the same like, elemental magic stuff. It's got like the ring menu system. As far as like you open up like a ring around your character that has like your weapon select and stuff like that. Well, I don't think you have weapon select. There are. Well, I take that back. It's got this new thing where it's like you change elements for your character, and then that actually gives you different weapons.
Yeah.
So that in that way, it's almost like Genshin Impact, where in Genshin Impact, you're changing to a different character entirely that has like, different elemental abilities, where here you're using your character, but he changes and it changes his appearance.
Okay.
And like his kind of move set and like his base weapon. So that's kind of interesting. And again, it was a lot to take in. I only played it for about like 15 minutes. I know the demo's a lot longer than that. And I think progress carries over, but, or not progress carries over. I think you get stuff for the main game. Like if you complete the demo, but I just wanted to get my hands on it and see, if it was even worth paying attention to. And I think it is. I think, especially if you are a fan of the series, like, it seems like it's a good one of those and not one of the bad ones.
Yeah, Valkyrie Elysium, perfect example of that.
Yeah. That one, I liked the demo. I think the gameplay of that game is very fun. Okay. It's just everything about that game is very mediocre, like graphically and like story and like, level design wise. Like it feels like a game that, I would happily buy on a sale, but would not have felt good about buying it full price.
Fair.
Whereas that Star Ocean game, I actually think looked really good. Again, I think they just they shoved it out there with like no fanfare or anything.
It seems to be
like, it didn't do well. We don't understand.
We thought people wanted this, and then didn't even tell them that
we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas.
Yeah, I mean that's the square way. It seems like
it really is.
Well,
they apparently do want my money now though, because now I was able to pre-order an American copy of the Pixel remaster for PlayStation 4. So I've got that. Because now it seems like you can just go ahead and do that, and it's not like a limited thing. It's like, oh, fucking A, like what a concept, guys. I bet it sells a lot more than, what it did before when you were disappointed in its sales figures.
Hard to say. Well, I guess I have one more thing to talk about that I don't have much to say about either, but I'll talk about it anyway. I was at work today. I was talking to my friend Lonnie, and we were both sitting there. We didn't have anything to do. He was like, I'm going to go home today and I'm going to play a game called, let me look it up. I just looked at it. Mom Hid My Game. And I was like, what the hell is that? And he was like, oh, it's really, really dumb, but it's great. And then he proceeded to show it to me. I was like, this is really dumb and I want to play it. And so I looked into it. He was like, well, I think it's on Switch. And I was and maybe like we looked up where it was at, and it was on Android, and I was like, well, screw it, what the hell? It was free. I was like, well, what do I have to lose? So I downloaded it there. It took me about 45 minutes to download there, and it's only like 50 megabytes because the internet there is shit. But anyway, so I got home and I played it myself. And it is really dumb. It's really fucking dumb. It's just like
your mom sure did hide your game.
She sure did. And you got to find it. Apparently it was a DS game way back when.
I think it was a DSi.
Might have been. I'm not
like that. One of those like digital only things.
That's what.
Like
it definitely seemed like a digital only thing. Yes, for sure.
I think this might have been one of the games. If you are a long time listener of the Giant Bombcast, and remember when Jeff used to do the eShop games of the week, and it was a bit that he did for a while where he would just go over all the stuff coming out on the eShop. And eventually, I think Ryan got sick of it. And so then Jeff actually made a podcast of just doing that every week. It was like a 10-minute podcast where he would just go over all the eShop games. And he did that for a while, like until I think the bit ran its course. But this was that era where it was.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. So they're on Android and I think iOS for free now, but there's ads. Like every 3 or 4, runs through, pass or fail, it'll show you a long ass fucking ad. I was like, I would rather pay money and not have this shit. But anyway, didn't matter. I played through the whole first game. It doesn't take, they don't take very long.
I feel like I know what this is, but I feel like we need to
I'm getting there.
Exactly.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's basically a puzzle game. Essentially, your mom hid your game. You got to find the game. Where is it? Who knows? You gotta click around and find it. Sometimes it will be, under the couch. So you got to go get a stick and you use the stick under the couch and you pull out the game. There's your game. Got it. Done. Now the way you lose the game is if your mom finds you, which she will, sometimes she'll be hiding. She'll be in a closet. You click on the closet and you're like,
mom's be hiding, man.
There's your mom, and fuck off. You're done. You play as a little Japanese boy, and your Japanese mom will find you, and she will be upset with you. She just has her arms crossed and just a look of disapproval.
Does not approve.
No,
she's not amused.
No. Some of my favorite puzzles include the one that got legit cracked me the fuck up was there was one where it's just a refrigerator, and not just a refrigerator. There's a refrigerator and a grill, almost like a bonfire looking grill, and in the other room there's a drawer, a set of drawers, and in the drawers are matches. So okay, well, you're gonna light the grill. Easy. And now you open the fridge up. What is in the fridge? There's a clamshell and a fish.
Was Duo here?
No.
Okay.
They were not. They were in a different country at the time. It's like, okay, well, obviously I got to grill something. Let's grill the fish. So I grilled the fish, and then my mom showed up, and she was upset because she smelled the fish cooking. I was like, well, shit, can't do it. That lost. And then I did it again, and I grilled the clam, and the game was in the clamshell. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Man, your mom really doesn't want you to play these video games.
She really does not want you to do that. No.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so dumb. It's really kind of, the funnest part is just finding like how to lose a lot of the time, because that shit's entertaining.
So I'm not looking anything up, but I did watch, I think Game Grumps play this like a while back.
Yeah.
My memory isn't it like there's no frames of animation where the characters just kind of like slide across the screen? Am I remembering that right? Like the mom will just like kind of slide, like, you know, when she finds you, like she just kind of slides into view. And
most of the time she doesn't even do that. She's just there. Like, yeah, like they'll just kind of pop in if I remember. It's kind of like a slide if I remember right. There's like, there's a couple puzzles where there's like people on bikes that are in your living room, and you got to stop them. So you gotta get. And there's also a sign that says you're only allowed to play the game for 1 hour. So you got to find the thing that pops the tack out of the sign, and then you got to use the tack to put down in the middle of the where all the bikes are going, and then they run over the tack and they fall because pop tires. And then if the funniest part about that one is if you forget to pick the tack up and you go, he will step on the tack and you will lose. So you have to pick the tack up beforehand.
Yeah.
God, it's dumb. It's so delightfully
There's actually some
dumb.
stuff like that in this bed we made.
Yes.
Where it's like if you don't clean up after yourself, like it'll come back to bite you.
Right. Oh man, it's kind of delightfully dumb. Like that's basically it. It's just a delightfully dumb. The puzzles nothing's gonna like blow you away or anything like that. It's just so stupid. Like There's a puzzle where where your grandpa is there and he's sitting on a cushion, and all you have is the fridge, and you're like, okay, well, there's water in the fridge. What if I just keep giving him water? And then eventually he goes pee, and then you click on the cushion, and there's your game. That's it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's got old man fart on it.
It was good. Well, you don't care. You just really into whatever you just want to play the game, Yeah. That's it.
It is time to play the game.
There's one I had. You have to assemble 7 Dragon Balls and then wish for the game.
Okay.
And
all right.
Yeah. It's dumb. It's real dumb.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fun. There's 3 of them, and apparently there's like a couple other like spin-offs and stuff like that too he was telling me about, and they're all on the Android thing. So if you type
they were kind of ahead of their time because they're very indicative of a lot of the. So I've been looking at a lot of the like shit that's on the PlayStation Store because of the Suffer Select.
Yeah.
And you will find, there is this certain tier of game where people will just make like the same game over and over again with like just one graphical change, and it's a different title, but it's the same game.
Yeah.
And it's usually something like, it's like you just, I think one of them is like, oh, it's this thing that you make jump.
Yeah.
And it's just an item that you press the button to make it jump. And it feels like a scam.
Yeah.
So I will say, Matt Jorgensen commented in, I'm not putting this in questions, comments, and concerns because it had to deal with a Patreon episode.
Okay.
But in response to Lady in a leotard with a gun on Suffer Select, he was saying that he had seen some video at some point about making, easy but shitty made games and putting them at a really low price point as a way of making passive income.
Yeah.
And, because people will buy them if they're getting like trophies or whatever.
Right.
And I said, well, I can see that if it was like $2, because then once Sony takes their cut, you're getting about $1 a sale.
Right.
And I can see that adding up over time. But when your game is 50 cents and is routinely on sale for 26 cents, I don't see how that math works out.
Well, to be fair, Julian, on Xbox, it's like $2 or something like that.
Yeah. And it did get me thinking, it's like, is there some sort of like shitty game that I can make that I can just put out for $1 a pop?
Maybe.
And see if I sell like, 10,000 copies of that, like, that's folding cash.
Right. Right. But no, this one, it made me laugh. Like it got a chuckle out of me every now and then. Just, like I said, there's some of them are so dumb. Like finding out how to lose is my favorite thing. It's like, oh no, my mom is hidden behind that lamppost. Clearly, like they're clearly there. I need to click on the lamppost just because, like I have to. Yeah. It was dumb. So yeah, what is the name of the play? I think it's like Hap Inc. or something like. Yeah, Hap Inc. They made all these games hidden by my on the Android store. It goes by like the Japanese title, but in English, so it's called Hidden My Game by Mom. But if you just type in "Mom Hid My Game," it'll come up. There's like 3 of them, and then there's one called Behind You, which I can't remember what the other name of that one is. But yeah, it's a whole thing. Then there's some knockoffs of them too, but those I'm not interested in. But yeah, stupid games. But yeah.
No, sometimes you need a stupid game.
It was very entertaining for like half hour, 45 minutes. I was like, well, that was cool. That was fun. Yeah. And it was free. So yeah. Why not?
I spend too much time on my phone, but sometimes I do miss just having like a fun phone game to go to. But,
right.
But the problem is that my phone is so heavy that I do so much typing at work that I can really easily get myself into a situation where like my wrist is fucked up.
Oh yeah.
It's a problem. Yeah. So I try to, avoid that.
I hear you. Like I said, this one was super short though. So I feel the same comfort level with phones as you do, where I'm not trying to spend a lot of time on them most of the time. So
yeah.
Well, that's that. That's all I got.
Okay, yeah, that's it for me as well. So I think there's just one last thing to do before we get out of here.
Okay.
Which is questions, comments, and concerns. There are many ways to reach us for your questions, comments, and concerns. You can email us. Our email address is thestageselectpod@gmail.com. You can DM us on Twitter. We are at stageselectpod. You can join our Discord, and there is a thread in the Discord for questions, comments, and concerns. If you're a patron, you can comment on episodes there, and I will read those as well. Same goes for YouTube. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, is that, the show is on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube and you want to comment that way, I'll see that notification and I can throw that in as well. We only have one at the for this week.
Cool.
This comes to us on Discord from Dennis75.
All right.
Who says, what is the weirdest video game you ever played and had a great time playing? For example, anyone ever play MDK? That is one weird ass game. It was developed by Shiny Entertainment, the creators of Earthworm Jim. So this is not the first good weird game that they have made. In MDK, you play as a janitor that ends up in the right place and time to save the world. He dons the coil suit made by a crazy scientist with a huge sniper rifle attached to its helmet. This suit looks like something out of an H.R. Geiger nightmare. So yeah, a bit weird right off the bat, but the gameplay was very good. The shooting was fun, the levels were amazing and weird, and using the sniper rifle face mask thing was super smooth and felt great. It's really strange to look at, but honestly, so very fun to play. Give it a try if you have the chance. Please share some of your favorite weird but fun games. I did play MDK. Also, fun fact, MDK2 developed by BioWare back in the day.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I could see that. Oof.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've talked about some today, right? Like,
I just got done talking. I didn't look at this ahead of time, and
no, I was smiling as you were talking about it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that definitely qualifies. Weirdest game I've ever played. That's a tough.
Or not weirdest, but just like some fun weird games that you've played, right?
Oh.
Like it doesn't have to be like a single one.
I mean,
so
God, all the Chinese FMV dating simulators are just stupid. But I have a good time with them for some reason. Let's see.
Most of those aren't. I wouldn't call them weird though. Superscout is definitely weird.
Superscout's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
And let's see.
Like one that immediately comes to mind for me is Incredible Crisis on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Which is just a bizarre, like, strange day in this salaryman's life. It's just a bunch of like weird mini games.
Yeah.
It's him trying to get home, I think, for like a birthday or something like that. But all sorts of weird shenanigans I'm saying weird a lot. I apologize.
That's fine.
But a bunch of stuff happens to him, and it's bonkers. And it's the type of game where it's like you can't even imagine it coming out for like full price in this day and age. But that was like a $50 ass game for the PS1.
Right.
But very cool, very fun.
Yeah. Oh man, this is a tough one. Idle Manager is really weird to me because it's just it's a time management simulator, but it also has this weird like dating element. But then if you engage with that element, it will fucking just end your game. Like,
well, yeah, you can't touch the idle.
You can't date them, but you can. It's a whole thing. Like, it's so weird. But
you have to keep them mint in box for their.
Oh man.
Because the fans demand that their Oshis be pure and
untouched. Not all the time. You can depends on your fan base, Julian.
Yeah.
But if you date them, they're still not happy about it. So there's that. Yeah. I'm sure I played weirder than that, but I can't think of any off the top of my brain right now.
Oh man, I can keep going.
Yeah,
man.
Go nuts. Maybe
like PS2 era was like home to a lot of like bizarre games.
Yes,
that I really
it was.
love.
And I'm trying to think of some of those, but
Mr. Mosquito, Mad Maestro. I would say Guitaru Man is actually a very weird game.
Yeah,
but it's one of my all-time favorites.
It is a weird one, but it's a lot of it. That sort of stuff doesn't even register with me because I don't know. It was just normal back then.
Yeah, Hurdy-Gurdy is a game that I find fascinating because it's a bad game that had a bunch of hype behind it, and it was like in development for a really long time.
It just reminded me of something.
It's a game where you're a sheep herder.
Okay.
But they put like Disney money in it because it's got like these really intricate animations and character designs and stuff like that. And when the game came out, I was like, why? Like, why does this game exist?
Right.
It's bizarre.
Oh man. I've never played this game, but I really want to because it is fucking unhinged. I think it's a PlayStation 2 game. Tulip.
I remember the name.
Yes.
I don't think that I've played it.
The entire concept of it is you move to town and you got to kiss everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fucking. I know that it's just fucking. It's wild.
Stretch Panic on the PS2, which was Treasure's, I think, only 3D game. Or wait, did Treasure do Sin and Punishment? They might have done Sin and Punishment, so it might not be their only 3D game. It was their first 3D game for sure. But you just play this character that has like this arm that's stretchy and can like pull on things.
Okay, yeah,
and like. I think one of the game's like most infamous things is that one of your enemies is just these ladies with like boobs so big that they cover their faces, and you can grab the boobs and stretch them.
Yeah.
And, like that's how you defeat them.
Right.
It's a strange little game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, technically, Katamari is pretty weird by definition, but yeah. I'm sure if I had more time to think about this, I could think about more. But
we can. I got time. We can sit here.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I thought of what my answer should have been last week about a day later, where I was like, oh right, fuck, I can't believe I didn't remember that. For soapbox shit, I'm not gonna do that. It's too late now. No,
it's fine. Come on.
Oh, you want it now? Oh man, it's. Ooh.
I put myself out there with my soapbox, so I feel that you owe me one.
Okay, I'll put one out there. It's somewhat of a hot take, but here we go. Okay. Olympics happened. I don't know if they're still happening. They're done, right?
No, they're thankfully over.
Okay.
It always feels like every time that it comes around, it feels like it's on forever, yes. and I feel like I need to just retreat from everywhere because somehow everybody gets into the Olympics except for me because I fucking hate them.
I just don't care. So they happened. There was the whole boxing controversy where the girl had that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a whole thing. And
it's still a thing.
It was still a thing. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And she is rightfully suing.
Yeah.
People for
absolutely
get that money.
And I thought about and this goes into a whole thing where I'm like, that is never going to stop happening. Because here's the thing is sports are just full of genetic freaks. It's just true. And now that
Michael Phelps literally has some sort of thing in his genes that makes him predisposed to being good at what he does.
He produces 50% less of lactic acid, I believe is what it is, that makes the thing that makes you tired and fatigued. He has half of it than normal people do. And so he doesn't get as tired or fatigued from shit. He has more stamina because of that. Stuff like that. It's just full of genetic freaks that are just prepositioned to do this shit, be good at certain things. And that girl pretty much kind of had something like that where she's just she's just built to do this shit. Sorry about your fucking luck. But this is the world we live in now. Now people will go to this whole they shouldn't be allowed to do this because obviously they're transgender and that's just wrong to us. And you're like, okay, no, listen, there's just people where do we draw the line? Because there's just again, genetic freaks. You're just going to have this.
There's a lot of ways that I can go with this because there's also an element of it to me where it's just let them fight. Right. So I'm actually of the mindset that if you're in the same weight class, I don't really care if a man and a woman are fighting each other.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going with this, Julian. Yeah. Because I don't mean even just in fighting period. I mean all sports.
Yeah.
Done with gender sports. Fuck this shit. It's bullshit. It's stupid. I want the best of the best of the best. And doesn't matter what their gender is. This is why.
Yeah. If you can do it, then do it.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely. And it always comes down to me as what will happen to these women that play these sports or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. It will be sad, but unfortunately, if you're not good enough, I don't know what to tell you. That's the way we should go. Do away with it, and then there's no controversy like that. Then all the genetic freaks that are good at the thing. Now we're all together in one big pool. There will be
that's kind of what the Olympics is supposed to be, right? So
there will be certain sports where women are way better. Like gymnastics, I guarantee they fucking dominate that shit. And so on and so forth. Yeah, we have weight classes for a reason. There were certain even outside of the Olympics, I'm sure there are women who could ball like a motherfucker and beat the shit out of somebody in basketball. I'm sure that could happen. Even football. I bet there's a woman right now that's like way fucking faster, and it would be like some amazing wide receiver or something in football. The problem is society would wince as soon as there was physical contact going on. Society's probably not ready for that. And I get
well,
that.
but I'm even thinking like for basketball, right? Like there have been basketball players who are average height or shorter than average height, and they had like professional careers, right? So, you know, because if the argument is like, well, but women are like smaller of stature, it's like, well, but we've had smaller stature male basketball players and they did just fine. Yeah. So, no, I'm right there with you.
No, if somebody's transgender, who cares? They're good at it. Fuck it. We don't have this problem anymore. Yeah, and then we get into the whole like, well, what about college athletes who, you know, that they got into college because they were good at, you know, lacrosse or whatever? Fuck them.
I'm sorry, what?
God damn it! Now I got to remember the button.
Fuck them.
There it is. It's very low. I got to turn this up, but I'll do that another day. I'll do that another day. Anyway, no, you should have to be smart to get into college. Or extremely.
That's another thing, dude. Like the idea of people getting like a free ride to a scholarship because they're good at a sporty thing, like that fundamentally like annoys me.
It does, but if they're like the best of the best of the best, right? Like, and we don't have, there's no gendered sports. We're not, you know, it's all even. Like, then sure, okay, I guess. But I could see it then. You know, like, hey, this girl is really good at volleyball or whatever. If all the volleyball team is men and women on the same team, I don't know. I can see it. Sure, fine, do what they're gonna do it. But like, yeah, gendered sports should be done with them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like even like when the controversy happened, like the first time that I saw it was on the Philip DeFranco show. And so he showed a picture of the boxers, and I actually thought that, you know, the trans woman was the other lady that got hit,
right?
Or the one that lost.
Yes.
Because the picture that he showed was like, okay, yeah, like if I squint, I could see that maybe she used to be a man. And then he dropped the bombshell that like, not only was that not her, it was the other girl, but also she's not trans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man,
she's also from a country where they would kill you if she was.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing with like, you know, look, I'm not a smart person. I'm not the best person to talk about these types of issues.
Nor am I.
Like, there are people who, especially like you said, like the genetic freaks, right? The ones who are just like kind of built different for that do well in these types of activities.
Yes.
Going to look a little less feminine, right?
Yeah.
And it made me think like, man, what would China's career be like if she debuted now?
Right.
Because I know, so she used to get a lot of shit back in the day. I remember there were people who would, like, they would talk about how ugly she was and stuff like that. I always thought she was pretty even before she got the plastic surgery.
Right.
And I was always a big fan of hers. But that was the extent of like the shit was like people just didn't find her as attractive as like Sable or something like that because she wasn't conventionally attractive.
Right.
You get a couple people who would like say like, oh, well, you know, she's actually a dude. But that was the vast minority of the stuff. It really boiled down to she's not my type of pretty. So therefore I don't like her.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't even imagine, like, I don't think she would have had a chance if she debuted now.
Oh yeah.
There would just be so much this type of shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. There is one transgender woman in AEW, I think, Nyla Rose, and they're a good wrestler. They really are. And they get shit a lot, but they to their credit, man, they soldier right on through it, and they're great and genuinely kind and funny individual as well. But yeah, like as you said, good God, man. Like I said, just get rid of it. That's what I want. Society's not ready, but you know what? Fuck society. Yeah. We should do this because there's certain sports too that where it's like, man, track and field. Like, let's just see who the fastest person on the fucking planet is. Like,
yeah,
why not?
Absolutely.
You know,
it's like I forget who it was, the tennis player that challenged Billie Jean King.
Oh, I forgot the guy's name. I remember Billie Jean King, but I can't remember that guy's name because
as well you should.
That guy sucked. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think let's take gender like out of the equation. Let's also pump them full of whatever enhancements we can give them.
Well, okay, maybe we don't need to go that route, but you know,
if we can put like some cyber implants in them, let's do that.
We'll get there. That's another thing, you know. But yeah.
Let's get to Mutant League football. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go, Julian. There's my so I immediately thought of it the next day when I was in the shower, like, oh, dumbass, that was it right there. That's the thing. You've been on that for a whole week now, and you just fucking blanked on it when your time was there to shine.
No, that was a good one. Yes. Yeah, like, you know, that dogged her like the entire Olympics, and it's a literal nothing burger. Like what you're saying did not happen, and people are still
made someone's fucking life miserable over nothing, over something they have no control over. It's like, and that will always happen though. Like there are just girls right now that are alive and in this world who are in like the 8th grade or 7th grade or whatever, and they're in junior high basketball and they're like 6'3", because that's just the genetics they have. And guess what? Does that give them an advantage? Yes, it does. They're just going to be taller than everyone else. Fucking deal with it. But you're now fucking assholes are going to be like, oh, well, that's clearly a guy. No girl is 6'3". No, they are. Sometimes people are 6'3" or whatever. I'm shooting low, by the way. They're actually a lot taller.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just get rid of it, you know? Just let the best of the best be the best and go against each other. That's the world I want to see.
To the death.
You're going a little further than I would, but you know what? You do you.
Yeah. Look, man, we're already on the path. Let's just get there sooner.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm saying that for a lot of stuff, right? Like, I'm ready for my what was it called in Cyberpunk? The brain dancing. Like, I'm ready for brain dancing. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Load me up with I think it was scop. Like the food that you just like have in the tube when you're in the brain dance. Like, let's do that. Let's just get there.
Okay. Well, maybe.
Yeah. And I hope that she gets fucking paid.
I hope so too.
From the people that she's suing, because like, yeah.
I hope so too. But yeah.
I can't even imagine. You literally spend your entire life having no life other than doing this one thing.
Yeah.
To do this one thing.
Yes.
And then you're so good at doing that one thing
that immediately somebody
you do the best at that one thing, and instead of being able to rejoice in that one thing, like, you've got to deal with all this shit. Like, no, fuck off, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, she should get paid, and then the Turkish guy should do what he does best for those people.
Okay. Sure.
Can't say much more than that, but you know what I mean.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's my soapbox. There you go. A week late, but yeah.
No, but worth it.
But worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should change sports. It'll be good.
No, we should.
We should
put some spikes on the football helmets.
Now you're going a different route. You're going blood sport route or whatever.
Yeah,
and that's fair.
Landmines in the field.
It's. I don't know about all this, but okay. let's baby steps first, Julian.
Look, let's get some cars, okay. And put some rocket engines on the back of them, and then get this giant ass ball, and just have them like try to maneuver that ball into a goal.
Okay. So Rocket League.
Yes.
Okay.
But for real, let's do that.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I think that game really like minimizes like how like the implications of what that would actually look like. Like,
I feel like that's been done at a demolition derby at least a couple times.
Probably
with the ball. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely been done.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but who knows? But anyway, that's all I got.
That's all I've got too. I think that's a show, Justin.
I think that's a show, Julian.
Yeah. You can find us online, Justin.
You can find me on X or Twitter or whatever the fuck it is.
It's just Twitter. Don't give him the satisfaction.
No, I don't know.
Fuck that guy.
Apparently it annoys certain people if you say X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't know. So now I'm leaning into annoying those people. I don't know. Anyway,
but it annoys them more if you just call it by its original name.
Yeah, that's true. So Twitter.
Yeah.
Tyrone_Swift. You can find me on twitch.tv/TyroneSwift. You can find me on YouTube at Tyrone Swift TV. And you can watch, you can see the glorious train wreck that is Superscout yourself if you want to.
You sure can.
Yep.
That's a thing you can do.
I stream every Saturday around 9-10 o'clock, somewhere around in there.
Eastern.
Yes, Eastern time. So you do your own math. I don't know where you live.
Yeah. And all of those links are also in the show link tree, which you can find in the show notes for the episode. You can find me on Twitter at Julian_Titus. Once again, the show is at Stage Select Pod. Thanks as always to the wonderful Megan McDuffie for our theme song and interstitial tracks. Thanks to friend of the show, John Gholson, for being our announcer and our logo. But that is going to do it for this edition of the Stage Select. I almost said Nerds Without Pants.
That's fine.
I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. We've been the Stage Select. Signing off again.
Uh-huh.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.